yet. Through the summer, all AM 560 listeners receive their first month of service for just $1. Your business will receive comprehensive coverage, including unlimited help desk and online support, network hosting, and antivirus protection its first contracted month for just $1. Ready to make the switch? It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro now. That's turnkey.pro. And tell them AM560 The Answer sent you. Get ready to focus on the important things of your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today.
What's happening? What does it mean? Why is it important? We've got The Answer. AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Rescuers digging people out of the rubble after a powerful earthquake devastating towns in central Italy. One new report of at least 37 people dead. It is not clear yet how many may be trapped.
We're seeing historic buildings and we're seeing a lot of damage. These are small towns and, yes, probably somewhat difficult to access for the emergency crews, but they are not widely known outside of Italy or draw large numbers of, say, American tourists or other international travelers. The heavy machinery being used in the search and rescue effort, but also people digging with their hands, town residents all out there trying to help in any way they can.
Fox's Amy Kellogg en route to the scene where that magnitude 6 quake struck. FEMA ramping up temporary housing plans for the tens of thousands displaced by flooding in Louisiana.
This is not just about property damage. This is about people's roots.
And President Obama says his visit to the state wasn't a photo op, but about long-term recovery. Donald Trump tweeting the president should have been there days ago. Hillary Clinton's campaign says a new report on Clinton Foundation donors getting access to her as Secretary of State cherry-picked a limited subset of her schedule.
This report was conducted by the Associated Press, and what it found is that aside from people who work for the U.S. government, more than half of the people who Hillary Clinton met with while Secretary of State had given money or were about to give money to the Clinton Foundation.
Fox's Kristen Fisher, the campaign, says that report is based on utterly flawed data. An offensive underway to retake a Syrian town from ISIS launched from neighboring Turkey. One activist group says Turkish tanks and minesweepers led the way as Syrian rebel fighters crossed the border. This as Vice President Biden arrived in Ankara amid ongoing tension over U.S. support for Syrian Kurdish fighters and a recent failed coup that Turkey blames on a U.S.-based cleric. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Cloudy skies. We have 72 degrees. Wind south at 12. It is 5:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Anti-abortion activists are challenging a Chicago ordinance that stops protesters from getting to within 8 feet of anyone entering a health care facility. The complaint was filed in federal court in Chicago by pro-life groups and sidewalk counselors who want to hand out literature near abortion clinics. Their claim is that the city violates their free speech rights with its 8-foot bubble zone. In 2014, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a Massachusetts 35-foot buffer zone law, prompting other challenges. Chicago police are trying to debunk Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's claim that department officials told him they could reduce crime by being tougher. During a Monday interview on Fox News' O'Reilly Factor, Trump said Chicago's police force doesn't have the right people in charge. A police spokesman says, to his knowledge, no one in the department's senior command structure has met with Trump or his campaign staff. A man accused of shooting at a Chicago police officer lashed out during his bail hearing, telling a judge he should have smoked the officer after being ordered held without bond. Kentrell Pledger, who's charged with attempted murder, told Cook County Circuit Judge Adam Bourgeois Jr. the officer shot at him first. And then, after Pledger's comment, Judge told a court reporter to write it down. Pledger was arrested after being found hiding under a porch. A gun was also recovered. It's not immediately known if Pledger has legal representation. A high-profile Chicago activist accused of assaulting police officers during a protest doesn't like the judge assigned to his case. An attorney for Jamal Green moved to replace Judge Maura Boyle, a former Cook County prosecutor, a move Green is permitted once without having to specify a reason. Former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich continues to take legal action in an effort to shorten his prison stay. The ex-politician's lawyer filed notice with a Chicago federal court saying he will appeal that 14-year sentence given to him earlier this month. Security wait times at O'Hare now average less than 10 minutes. 3 months after 2-hour waits caused passengers to miss flights and made national headlines at O'Hare and Midway. Notre Dame cornerback Devin Butler has now been formally charged after allegedly punching a police officer and slamming that officer to the ground over the weekend. He's facing felony counts of resisting law enforcement and battery against a public safety official. Coach Brian Kelly announcing Sunday Butler had been suspended indefinitely from the team. However, the university says he still remains enrolled. White Sox over Philadelphia 9-1. Cubs over San Diego 5-3. The news, a service of Sparkling Ice. Start today with the deliciously flavorful experience of Sparkling Ice, bursting with real fruit flavor and just the right amount of fizz. Get all the taste and refreshment you want without the calories. Pick up one of the 15 irresistible Sparkling Ice flavors today. Sparkling Ice, the bold side of water. 5:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager tries to explain the consequences of a Hillary win.
I am now convinced that most of those who are in the Never Trump camp, that they have the same understanding that I do. Now, my understanding may be in error, and theirs may be accurate. I don't think they understand the calamity of the Democratic presidential win in November.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
5:06. Let's get an update on the roads now. Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. Eastbound 8094 traffic is stop and go from Torrance Avenue to Indianapolis Boulevard. It's a pretty long delay. This overnight road construction is now beginning to clear. These delays should begin to ease a little bit here in the next few minutes. Westbound 8094 is fine, so is the Indiana Toll Road. No problems to report on the Edens right now. Kennedy is delay-free. Same true of the Eisenhower, the Stevenson, and the Ryan. Overnight work has wrapped up at 390 and 53. There was a lot of work in that area during the night. Traffic is a service of Back to School Illinois. Back to School Illinois provides school supplies for children in need. You can help by making a donation at any neighborhood currency exchange or at b2si.org. Back to School Illinois, working to improve educational opportunities for Illinois children. b2si.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here is our meteorologist, Ashley Benoit.
A couple of strong thunderstorms around today, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy, and humid. The storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds. High today, 83. Mostly cloudy skies tonight and humid with a shower thunderstorm around and a low of 71. I'm Ashley Benoit on AM 560, The Answer.
72 at O'Hare, 74 at Midway. Next news, 5:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan, and in for Amy is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass. John.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Just a point of order before we get into our business, as it were. Kristen McQuarrie, she was in the last 2 days.
The lovely and talented, brilliant Kristen McQuarrie.
That's right. She brought.
also on my podcast.
Oh,
it's not really
good.
like a cool radio show.
Well, I mean, she brought in cinnamon rolls. She brought in Rice Krispie treats. She brought in granola bars. And you come in with this plastic bag of these misshaped objects. I don't know what they are.
Well, take a look at them and put your
looks
imagination at work to see what kind of delights you might come up
This
with.
looks like, is this from like your garden? These look like some kind of vegetables, like a cucumber and a tomato.
That's for you, for sure.
Uh-huh.
And
My personal use.
And the tomatoes as well.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen such beautiful tomatoes?
No, they're lovely. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them, though.
John, are they heirloom tomatoes?
As a brilliant man noted, yes.
I noted the
heirloom.
color on them from way over here.
I don't think Dan's ever seen a yellow tomato.
No, I mean, I see them on my plate when somebody gives them to me in the
that's
context of a larger meal.
Right.
But
That's what I thought you'd do. You'd give them to Jeeves at your club and say, Jeeves, whip
suppose.
up some balsamic vinaigrette.
Jeeves has a lot of work to do already. I mean,
He drove you here.
I expect when you come in, there'll be a completed meal. So maybe during a break you can do something with these.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the cucumber and do something. Watch.
I'm sure you will.
We do have one knife in the kitchen.
There you
go.
That's all you need. Yeah,
and no olive oil, and especially none from Kalamata or Crete.
That's true, and no feta either. So,
but a master chef like you can make something of this.
I tell you, you give me those vegetables and you for 5 minutes now after that instruction.
Really?
And I'll come up with something
That's
special.
I'm feeling that this is not a safe space. So Hillary emails. This is what we got to get to here.
Oh my! Wait, that's like 4 hours.
Well,
you
if we go through every single donor that she visited with at the State Department, that would be 4 hours. It'd be 4 days.
Is pay per play is that enough, or is that kind of too?
Yeah, I mean, this
too
is
like tapioca for what she's done,
right?
With our government.
This is raising it to new heights. There's no question about it. This AP story, Associated Press, not part of the vast right-wing conspiracy, at least as I understand it, finds through a little bit of good old journalistic work that at least 85 of the 154 non-government meetings that Clinton had during her time as Secretary of State were with Clinton Foundation donors. 85 of 154 people from private interests who met or had phone conversations scheduled with Clinton while she led the State Department donated to her family charity or pledged commitments to its international programs. This after a review of State Department calendars by the Associated Press. Combined, at least 40 donated more than $100,000 each. 20 gave more than $1 million for a total tally. Let's check the board. That's $156 million generated from those 85 meetings she had as our Secretary of State.
How you doing, Miss Secretary of State? I got a project I want to talk to you about.
And so, I mean, is there anything wrong with that? They're having a meeting about unrelated matters. They learn about all the good work that the Clinton Foundation is doing.
Ravi Mook. Ravi Mook.
And they decide to contribute to Western civilization by making a handsome donation to the Clinton Foundation, and you want to make it something ugly.
Or it just could be, Chicago way writ large. You give me some money, and I'll let you sit down in the chair and tell me all about your problems, and maybe I'll fix it. The larger problem is not that Clinton is a liar. We know that. Not that they're devious, we know that. Not that even Mark Rich's buddy, Chaudhry, whatever his name is involved here. It's that the American people may have a president, if she gets elected, who is not only above the law, but who basically spits on it in the face of the people who pay her salary. That's what it is.
Well, I'll tell you.
Sorry, I'm not charitable with her.
Well, I'll tell you, Brian Fallon, one of the Hillary Clinton I'm With Her campaign spokespersons, he responded to this assault on the integrity of one Hillary Clinton with a statement, and this is Brett Baer's encapsulation of what the Clinton campaign had to say in response.
This story relies on utterly flawed data. It's cherry-picked, a limited subset of Secretary Clinton's schedule to give a distorted portrayal of how often she crossed paths with individuals connected to charitable donations to the Clinton Foundation. It goes on to say the data does not account for more than half of her tenure as secretary, and it omits more than 1,700 meetings she took with world leaders, let alone countless others she took with other U.S. government officials while serving as Secretary of State.
When you put it in context of, all the other people that she met in the normal course of
being Secretary of State and traveling the world on behalf of the United States, this is just a small fraction of her work. You have to look at it in the totality, John.
Typical, right? It's not a story. Move along, deny, lie and lie, and then when more comes out, you say, it's old news. It's old news. This is the Clinton behavior over, 30 years now.
Well, it was, probably, even prior to them arriving on the national scene, I would say when they were plying their trades in Arkansas, you had a lot of the early indicators of what ultimately the Clintons would become if they were continued to give access to the halls of power, which in our infinite wisdom we have done as a country. And so the issue then ultimately went in terms of criminality. I mean, not that she's not above the law, because she is. I understand that. But I mean, just for an intellectual exercise, let's pretend that she wasn't above the law. So the issue, if she wasn't...
Like she was a sailor or somebody like that.
Right, exactly.
Right, just somebody.
Yeah,
right.
like she was just a normal schlub in the military.
One of us or our listeners driving in
precisely
to work right now. Right.
Precisely. Or, or a 4-star general. Just a normal schlub, a regular 4-star general.
Yeah, with a girlfriend.
Right. I mean, it's just a regular
Not that
person.
she would have a girlfriend, but I mean just a regular person.
Yeah, so let's play this intellectual game just for our own entertainment. The issue then ultimately becomes one of buying access, which is not illegal, versus buying a specific performance, which is illegal. I give you this and you go do that, and evidence that she got this and she went and did that. And that's essentially the point that Krauthammer makes.
Look, everybody here is wrong. So much error, so little time. That statement is meaningless. Who cares if there were 17 other conversations or even meetings? What matters is, were there any that were as a result of giving money to the Clintons? The answer is yes, and that is in itself damning. It may not be illegal, but it's damning.
Yeah, it may not be illegal, but it's damning. In a political context, it's damning. This is one of the reasons 2/3 of the country does not find her trustworthy. Now, how that ultimately translates into her electoral success is certainly an open question.
I just wonder if we can wise people up in America and in this state. You think that there's a quid pro quo. I come in to see Dan Proft, who, let's say you're Speaker of the House of Illinois or Secretary of State. We don't, there's no.
You want to jump in line at the DMV? Is that
there's
what
no,
saying?
I'm giving you something, you give me something. It's not done that way. It's not like leave it in the envelope like that fool West Side alderman or state rep, whatever his name was, remember? Leave it in the envelope, I'll count it later.
Derek Smith.
It's not like that. It's everything's implied and understood.
Because you don't need to say it, because the culture tells you what you're supposed to do.
And if you do talk in specifics, the first thing the other guy says is, Dan Proft is wired up on me. That's what you think. That's how crooked this thing is on all levels. And that's why I want people to wake up, because I'm really seriously concerned about the Republic. When it gets to that point where there's so much understanding of corruption among the elites. You've read history. I love listening to your show. You reference history all the time. What happens when that happens? Ultimately, there's a tipping point.
It doesn't go well. It doesn't end well, I
Madame
should say.
Guillotine shows up, right?
Well, right. And also, too, I mean, if you just, among the hoi polloi, people that think I'm just an average citizen, I don't have any control, I don't have any dominion over my life.
They're all the same.
You know what happens? You get hurt badly, too. No one is spared when the walls come crashing down. No one is spared.
The Turks come over the wall and Christianity is destroyed.
That's a good historical reference.
Right.
Ed in Oak Brook, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, you know what? I'm listening, and I guarantee you that throughout the day, the Democrats, the spokespeople, are going to have the same answer that the one guy that you played a clip on, like she met with 1,700 other people. Well, why don't the announcer or the interviewer ask, well, how many are acceptable to buy favors from a government official for their own pet projects, as John would say? How many are acceptable? 1, 2, 100?
85.
300, half of them?
85 are acceptable.
But there's more than that, because she also influenced, she's talking about government officials, she also influenced that Greek bailout. All of these people that are scrambling into Germany right now, this is all Clinton stuff, if you want to dig deep into it. So have a nice day.
Thanks for the call, Ed. Ed doesn't sound ecstatic about this. He's a little bit exasperated, and I can understand because I'm a little bit exasperated too.
He hits that point about the talking points. You know what's going to, right? They get their script. They're all going to be out here. Feinstein, all the other ones. They'll be out there and they'll be saying the same thing over and over again. She did get on Jimmy Fallon, though, didn't she?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Or whatever his name is.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
another fungible, guy.
Hard-hitting newsman, Jimmy Kimmel.
Right.
She took all the tough questions from Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel made her open a jar of pickles. What more do you want from this woman?
But now her response to the non-entity, right, is used as part of the news and her reaction to the AP report. So it's like, whatever, right? What did she say? Something like, whatever.
And this is where
I'm opening pickles. It's no big deal.
And this is where the whole matter of her not having a press conference in 250 some odd days, it matters because it's not just like you do these one-on-one soft interviews. Forget even the entertainment people. How about the entertainment people that pretend to be journalists like Andrea Mitchell?
Or my guy, my tribesman, George Stephanopoulos.
Oh, sure.
Donor.
Clinton Foundation donor.
I quit watching his show. I wrote a column about a year ago. You give the money and you don't say anything about it? I don't want you anymore, baby.
You're not missing anything, but this is why. I mean, this Associated Press, this deserves a gaggle of press with an opportunity for her to stand and be questioned.
Oh, come on. Do you really want, as you've seen news conferences before, where the person in front of the news conference is about to be savaged by wild dogs? That's what you want to see.
That is
Mrs. Clinton.
That's what I want to see. I want to bring Sam Donaldson back.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Today, a few strong... Pardon me.
Yeah, we need Kristen McQuarrie back here.
A few strong thunderstorms. Storms can bring flooding and damaging winds. High of 82. Mostly cloudy and humid tonight with a shower of thunderstorms around low 70. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy, humid with a shower of thunderstorms around 82. When you put shower and thunderstorm in the same, juxtaposed, you got a problem.
We don't need any weather commentary from you.
Diphthongs are my, weakness.
Hey, Jim Talamonte probably wants to tell us about the traffic.
Hey, Jim.
Good morning, Mr. Gass. Good morning, Dan. How are you?
Sorry.
Don't let those storms and showers damage those heirloom tomatoes.
Okay.
Got some heavy traffic on 8094 still. There's overnight road work late in clearing, and it's jammed eastbound from past Torrance to Calumet Avenue, where that work is, we're told, in the process of clearing, but it's taking a while. Westbound 8094 is fine. Chicago expressways look pretty good. Inbound Ryan starting to get a little bit congested approaching downtown. Otherwise, it's all good. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CERTAPro.com today.
The following is an incredible, life-changing free offer for anyone with hearing problems who wants to start hearing everything more clearly again. We're now offering free in-home trials of a revolutionary hearing breakthrough called Listen Clear to anyone who calls this special toll-free number now, 1-800-400-3906. Call in the next 10 minutes and you'll also qualify for free shipping and free batteries for life. Listen Clear is precisely designed by top audio engineers. It adjusts to let you find the perfect way to hear everything, wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And Listen Clear is so invisible, people may not even know you're wearing it. And it's so lightweight, you may even forget you're wearing it too. Don't miss this special life-changing opportunity to hear everything more clearly again for free with a 100% free in-home trial, free shipping, and even free batteries for life. For free information, call now, 1-800-400-3906. That's 1-800-400-3906. 1-800-400-3906.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan back with John Cass, Chicago Tribune columnist, and for Amy this morning. And we're talking about the AP look at the Clinton Foundation donors and cross-referencing those donors with the State Department schedules and finding that 85 of 154 individuals who met with private interests, who met with Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State, donated a total of $156 million to the Clinton Foundation. And the question of just access, damning pay-to-play politics, or criminality, I think it's still an open question.
It might be perjury.
Well, then that's another open question. The House Republicans are pursuing a perjury case against Hillary Clinton for her testimony before the House Oversight Committee.
You can always go back in time and think what questions I would have asked while she were under oath. You wonder if they may have wasted a little bit of time in not nailing her down on a little bit more specifics when she was there, because I don't think, even if she's elected president, I don't think you'll ever see her under oath.
Oh, no. No,
right?
no.
You will never see her under oath.
I mean, you think the Department of Justice is in the tank now. You
so
haven't
what
seen
is it
anything
going to be
yet.
like? What is it like putting Rich Daley and Mike Madigan in charge of the ethics committee of the world? What will it be like? It's going to be bad.
Well, this is also interesting, too. The Clinton Foundation donors, a little bit of a look back at the Clinton Foundation donors to just remind people of the media big government complex, right? And media big government Democrat complex. And this also may include some surprising names for you. You mentioned, of course, Clinton Foundation donor zero, George Stephanopoulos, ABC News chief anchor, who gave between 50 and 100 grand.
But he has good hair.
No, sure, it's lovely. Remember, these donations in terms of reporting are given within ranges, not specifics. The 1 million to 5 million donors to the Clinton Foundation include Carlos Slim, the richest man in the world, CEO of Telmex in Mexico. James Murdoch, CEO of 21st Century Fox, Rupert Murdoch's kid. Newsmax Media.
That's amazing.
Our friend Chris Ruddy.
How does that work?
Now that's, the conservative media network there. Thomson Reuters, owner of the Reuters News Service. News Corp, the News Corp Foundation, the philanthropic arm of the former Fox News parent company. Houghton Mifflin, the publisher. Howard Stringer, between $100,000 and $250,000, former CBS News executive. Bloomberg Philanthropies, of course, Michael Bloomberg.
That's the big gulp, yeah.
Mort Zuckerman, the owner of the New York Daily News and U.S. News and World Report, between $50,000 and $100,000.
Surprised given his coverage, huh?
Time Warner, owner of CNN parent company Turner Broadcasting, between $50,000 and $100,000.
What about MSNBC?
They don't have any money. $25,000 to $50,000 includes AOL, HBO, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, Viacom. $10,000 to $25,000. Public Radio International. I love that.
You know who's
taxpayer funded?
You know who's not on that list? Dan Proft, John Cass.
And never.
I don't know. Never will.
And
be.
never will be.
Right.
Die standing up rather than live on my knees. Jordan Forest Park.
Hey, Dan and John, if Hillary really wants to be above board on this, she probably should say, you know what, I'm gonna prevent all of these donors from ever doing business with the federal government while I'm in office. Wouldn't that be kind of a nice comment? I don't expect her to say that. And then how about bringing in a couple of these donors and being interviewed by Congress? How did this kind of deal work? What caused you to give this money? And just see what they say.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Jordan. That would be kind of fun to have the tobacco executives lineup of Clinton Foundation donors, right? To have and have them be asked about their payment for access to the Clinton Foundation. In terms of Hillary saying they'll never be allowed to do any kind of business with the federal government, that would be fun to hear her say that, and also hilarious. But if she said that, of course, she wouldn't be Hillary Clinton.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You desperately need workers. You don't have time to find them. Let us handle it. We did it 425,000 times last year. This is Terry Greeno. My company is Express Employment Professionals. We know how to find the right people for your business. If you own or run a business in McHenry or Kane County, let us be your partner. Be it finance, accounting, administrative, manufacturing, engineering, we've got you covered. We help make this critical part of your business better so you can focus on running your business. It's simple. We put great companies and great people together. If you own or run a business in McHenry or Kane County, give us a try. Find out why we are the go-to company for great employees. Check us out at expresshires.com.
Contact the go-to company for great employees in McHenry or Kane County. Contact Express Employment Professionals, 815-788-8556. 815-788-8556.
Welcome to our resort. Hey, how would you like a free round of golf and a couples massage on the beach, huh? And the next thing you know, you just bought a timeshare. Fast forward 5 years, you've only been back twice, but you're paying maintenance fees every year. This is the sad story of many of you listening to this right now. And this great investment in vacations will be passed on to your children after you, probably with higher fees, because most timeshare contracts last for perpetuity. But I bring you hope. Timeshare Exit Team. Timeshare Exit Team is the most trusted name in the industry. They're a consumer protection company that will get you out of your timeshare safely, legitimately, and forever. Read the reviews, then call 844-321-EXIT and schedule your free consultation. They'll review your contract and let you know your options. Don't wait for another maintenance fee to hit. Get out now. Call 844-321-EXIT or online timeshareexitteam.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, and in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass.
The lovely John Cass.
Lovely, that's true. Yeah, so you look resplendent in the morning. Coming up at 5:38, Andy McCarthy over at National Review Online has a remedy for the Clinton Foundation corruption. Impeach Hillary Clinton. We'll discuss it after we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Dan and John, good morning. 71 degrees, and we're following developments in Italy this morning, where more than 36 are reported dead, 150 missing after a magnitude 6.2 earthquake in the central part of that country, about 100 miles northeast of Rome. It has been followed by major aftershocks. The president promising federal support until Louisiana rebuilds from last week's devastating floods.
The whole country is going to continue to support you and help you until we get folks back in their homes and lives are rebuilt.
Donald Trump suggesting this morning he's open to softening laws dealing with immigrants in the U.S. illegally.
And there certainly can be a softening because we're not looking to hurt people. We want people. We have some great people in this country. We have some great people in this country. But we're going to follow the laws.
While Trump spoke at a town hall in Texas, Republican vice presidential nominee Mike Pence commented directly about presidential nominee Hillary Clinton's response to the FBI finding more questionable emails.
The American people are tired of pay-to-play politics in Washington, D.C., and it's all going to come to a crashing end when Donald Trump is sworn in.
In California, Clinton deflected more email talk and then promised to make it easier to start small businesses if she's president. A 16-year-old is recovering after an experimental drug saved him from a brain-eating amoeba. Sebastian De Leon was on vacation with his family in Orlando when he developed the infection and was put in a medically induced coma. Now, how rare is this recovery? De Leon is now one of only 4 people in the last 50 years to have survived this type of infection. A man accused of shooting at a Chicago police officer lashed out during a bail hearing, telling a judge he should have smoked, his word, the officer, before being ordered held without bond. Kentrell Prager is charged with attempted murder. And Governor Rauner has signed legislation to try and curb gun violence in the city of Chicago by punishing those convicted of firearm trafficking with longer prison sentences. White Sox over Philadelphia. Cubs beat San Diego. The news service of Back to School Illinois. Back to School Illinois provides school supplies for children in need. You can help by making a donation at any neighborhood currency exchange or at b2si.org. Back to School Illinois, working to improve educational opportunities for Illinois kids. b2si.org. 5:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity addresses the Republican establishment.
But when Hillary appoints liberal activist justices, remember, you help create that. You help build that. When no wall goes up and somebody crosses the border and commits an act of terror, well, you help build that. If America is not energy independent in the next 8 years, you can pat yourselves on the back for that. If there are restrictions on our Second Amendment rights, I'd say you played a part in that.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
Well, I had back pain for the last 40 years. 4 days after I started taking this stuff, it's gone.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
5:37, and in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center this morning, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound 8094 traffic is stop and go from past Torrance to Calumet Avenue with overnight work clearing. The delays are easing a bit, but it's still stop and go. Westbound, it's clear. The Edens and the Kennedy are fine. The Eisenhower, too. Stevenson looks pretty good, though the ramp to the inbound Ryan is filling up. The Ryan has delays from the Stevenson to the Burn Circle. 20 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57 is 5. Bishop Ford got a 2-minute delay from 103rd to the merge. Traffic is a service of Amtrak. Great memories are made on trains, not in traffic. Experience travel the way it should be. Go from Chicago to Denver for $94 with Amtrak Saver Fares. Book now at amtrak.com/saverfares. See where the train can take you. Restrictions apply. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. A few strong storms crossing the area soon as this morning. Some of those storms could bring heavy rain and damaging winds, high 82. Storms continue overnight, low 70, and a cloudy and humid day with a shower or thunderstorm tomorrow, high of 82. Currently 71 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next with Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass joining us on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Kelly Financial Services, helping you secure your financial future today. Visit kellyfinancialservicesinc.com.
Hey, Joe Walsh here. Listen to Freedom any time of any day. Go to walshfreedom.com/podcast. Freedom returns at 5.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass. And John, one of the fun things over the last several months has been the failings of State Department flacks that have been trotted out to deal with Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State. Totally. Yeah. I mean, between Kirby trying to explain the ransom payment, and the editing of the video, to a number of different flacks, including Mark Toner, trying to explain to the press, a properly cynical press, at least over the State Department, especially Matt Lee, the Associated Press reporter there, about what was going on in the State Department under Clinton, and that protocols were checked, and there's nothing to see here, and they found no evidence of impropriety. And this was an exchange between the aforesaid Matt Lee and the aforesaid Mark Toner at the State Department about the emails that were unearthed. This before the Associated Press story broke yesterday about the meetings with 85 of the 154 private meetings she took with Clinton Foundation donors. This is just about the emails that indicated that Uma, Mrs. Carlos Danger, and other Doug Band and other aides of Clinton were essentially running interference for Clinton and managing the donor relationships for Clinton while they were at State. Here's Mark Toner saying, nothing to see here.
One of your colleagues said that that the State Department was sure that there was no impropriety involved in any of the contacts between this building and the foundation. Is that still the case?
That is still our belief, yes.
So
there was no impropriety, that this was simply, evidence of the way the process works, and in that, any Secretary of State has aides who are getting emails or contacts by a broad range of individuals and organizations.
Is that convincing to you? She has aides. They meet people. The Secretary of State meets with people. The aides help those meetings with people.
You know what? As he was speaking, I was thinking of a fantasy where you walk forward about 4 steps and smack him right in the mouth with a backhand. Like, shut up. You talk straight, you weasel. You worm. There are people in this that work in the Foreign Service field who are ethical, who sign, who take polygraphs, who keep their noses clean and fly straight.
And who serve our country honorably in often sticky situations.
Most of the people that I've known in those areas do that. And they're the ones who are the most concerned about Americans losing their liberties through surveillance and so forth.
Yeah,
these are the people, just like a lot of some FBI agents I know, they're the ones who are concerned most about your the Bill of Rights, not the politicians, not these people. These people are scum. And to focus, what really bothers me is to focus on the media focusing on, Mark Breitbart, the Breitbart guy says
Steve
something
Bannon.
mean.
Yeah.
Oh, he said something mean. Really? I mean, they're stealing your government. They're slapping you in the face on the federal and local level with these Democrats. Republicans have had their problems too. But for them to slap you again and again and again with this nonsense, and you take it and you get distracted like some meat puppet with mean comments made by some flack.
You don't just take it. You say, thank you, sir, may I have another? I mean, that's really what...
That's one of the best.
Really. But by the way, Ron Fournier, conservative, Ron Fournier, liberal, National Journal, but he's asked some of the best questions and made some of the best comments, and he's known the Clintons all the way back to Arkansas. But he's been fairly straight on them this campaign cycle, even while disclosing a personal affinity for them. Brian Fallon tweeted yesterday, that same flack that said there's nothing to see here. She had 1,700 meetings. What's the big deal?
Yeah, forget about it.
Brian Fallon, in this kind of smarmy Clinton way, Trump donated to the Clinton Foundation while Hillary was Secretary of State. Doesn't that mean that Trump, is calling for an investigation of himself?
Who said this?
This is Brian Fallon, a Clinton campaign spokesman.
So I should walk back forward and slap him again.
Well, and
Okay,
Ron Fournier responded to that tweet, to that little, smart-ass tweet. Fournier said, your boss promised to build a firewall between state and the Clinton Foundation. Now you're throwing all its donors under the bus. And it's really an important response that Fournier offers, and it's a good insight because all these people that think they probably don't think they're friends. They're transactional.
Right.
But they
she
don't.
came to I gave her the check. She came to the wedding.
But as much of a killer as you think like these hedge fund guys are, these corporate CEOs, these big time guys, they are nothing. They are nothing compared to politicians like Clinton Inc., who will kill everybody as they need to. And I mean that rhetoric. I mean that figuratively, not literally.
Ask the Serbs of Kosovo.
Well, I mean,
she'll kill everybody, and then she'll leave Al-Qaeda training camps in her wake. That's who she is.
Everyone is expendable. Right. And as soon as you become inconvenient, I mean, it is like a crime family. As soon as you become inconvenient, then you got to go. And so all the donors are under the bus. It's not just Trump and using Trump as a convenient whipping boy here. It's anybody and everybody on the list.
So
anybody who's inconvenient.
Imagine them as president. Because this mope that they brought from Virginia, you think he's going to be in the loop when Bill and Hillary run the world?
Terry McAuliffe and all his criminal friends? Absolutely. Yeah. They're lining up at the polls right now. And then there's the related question of Mrs. Carlos Danger. National Review had a good op-ed yesterday on this, the troubling questions of influence peddling and corruption. Hillary Clinton and Uma, Mrs. Carlos Danger,
Mrs. Fixer,
married to the Randy Mongoose.
The putting his junk on the I can't even say it.
Yeah, that's him.
Sorry.
And National Review writes, among other things, Abedin already admitted during legal proceedings that one of her assignments while working at State was saying to, quote, Clinton Family Matters, which is inappropriate on its face. You're a State Department official. You're her Michael Clayton, but that's what she is. She's her Michael Clayton. But what those matters consisted of is a fairly obvious case of rewarding Clinton Foundation donors with access to the nation's number one diplomat. And then they go on to detail all of those who got royal treatment, some of whom we've discussed already. And, it just brought to mind, what do you think a couple's weekend is like with the Wieners and the Clintons?
I would think it has to do with maybe the two guys go off and watch some TV and they leave the other two, I don't know.
We'll take your...
I don't even want to touch that with that cucumber egg.
Not without a hazmat suit on.
Right.
Mark Thompson tweeted on the topic. One guy chases the other guy's wife around. One lady chases the same wife around. One guy sticking his junk in the salsa. Uma counting money. That's pretty good. That's
in one tweet?
That's about what I expect.
That's a haiku.
A weekend would be like. So, your thoughts on what a Uma and Randy Mongoose with the Hillbilly House of Cards, what it would be like on a weekend. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636DA is turnkey.pro. Text line. Jim in Miami, Florida. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, gents. I'm just wondering, where's the fourth estate? And I don't want to just blame the media, but where is Obama in this whole thing? This is Obama's State Department. Did he have any supervision over anything?
Well, thanks for the call, Jim.
How dare you criticize this man who should be on all our bills?
Well, on the fourth estate, it was an AP story, so let's give the Associated Press credit. On President Obama, this is the point you were making when we were off air. I mean, so make the point about Obama. This is an excellent point.
It's right in his lap. What was he thinking when he put her in? He put her in State Department so that she wouldn't cut his whatever Jesse Jackson wanted to do. Right? That's why she was there, and he sold the country. He allowed her to sell her country for his politics. Is that the point? Or is there something else some other bit of wisdom that I missed?
No, I think that's generally the point. Mm-hmm. Brian in Waukegan.
Yeah, I just like Hillary is elected in November.
Brian, I'm sorry
Right.
you're breaking up on your cell phone's breaking up on us. Sorry about that. But I think the question he had was if Hillary is elected in November, what happens if she's indicted as president of the United States? What happens? We get justice?
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today in weather, a few strong thunderstorms. Storms can bring flooding and damaging winds, high of 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy and humid, with a shower of thunderstorms around low 70. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy and humid, with a shower of thunderstorms, high 82. Low tomorrow night, 64. And now for my friend, Jim Talamonte with the traffic.
Thank you, John. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Well, thankfully, the traffic storm has cleared on 8094. The overnight road work near Clayman Avenue was late in clearing, but it has cleared now, and things have quickly eased in that area. No significant delays to report on 8094, and the rest of northwest Indiana looks good, too. It's slow on the inbound Eisenhower from Mannheim to Harlem. 35 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound fine at 29th. The Stevenson has about a 4-minute delay, central to Kedzie. The Rhine, about 5 minutes worth of delays in pockets. Bishop Ford, a 5-minute delay from 111th to the Rhine. The Edens and the Kennedy are still fine. The Illinois tollways look good. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
You always listen to AM 560, The Answer. You've heard all about Turnkey IT, Chicagoland's leading IT service provider for small business. Turnkey provides world-class support and customizable plans for businesses with 5 to 100 users. And with some of Turnkey IT's programs, you get all new equipment, free security, and antivirus protection. Sound great? Then why haven't you called Turnkey IT? There's really no excuse. Turnkey IT is setting you up with their best offer yet. Through the summer, all AM 560 listeners receive their first month of service for just $1. Your business will receive comprehensive coverage, including unlimited help desk and online support, network hosting, and antivirus protection its first contracted month for just $1. Ready to make the switch? It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro now. That's turnkey.pro. And tell them AM 560 The Answer sent you. Get ready to focus on the important things of your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today.
Mike Rowe here with a quick IAQ test for my buddy Bill.
Wait, I didn't study.
IAQ stands for Indoor Air Quality, something 1 hour excels at.
Well, I aced my SATs, so...
Yes or no? Do you breathe inside your home?
Yeah.
And what do you breathe?
Air.
And what's in that air?
Air?
Sorry, we were looking for dust mites, household pollutants, even formaldehyde.
Wait, I need to move.
Or you could call 1 hour and improve your IAQ.
That sounds smarter.
Let's see how you do with the disclaimer.
Each independent franchise is licensed in its respective state or county.
Not bad.
Illinois deserves an honest analysis of the problems facing our state. Avoid the spin from the mainstream media and Springfield insiders by tuning in to Illinois Rising every Sunday at 3 p.m. AM 560's Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute tackle the policy and political issues that matter most and discuss possible solutions. So if you're sick of the status quo, then be sure to listen to Illinois Rising this Sunday at 3 p.m. on AM 560. The Answer.
Know that sound? That's the sound of trouble for CPAP users. Did you know that just one drop of water in your CPAP system can become a breeding ground for mold and bacteria? Breathe that stuff in and you're battling respiratory infections, allergy attacks, and more. But here's good news. SoClean.com has released the world's first and only automated CPAP cleaner and sanitizer. It's the healthier way to clean your system because it kills 99.9% of germs in minutes. For a limited time, you can try it risk-free for 30 days. Just call 1-800-400-9280. SoClean makes cleaning your CPAP a breeze. It's completely hands-free. Just pop in your mask, close the lid, and presto, your CPAP system is clean and fresh in minutes. Don't let one drop of water wreak havoc on your body. Call SoClean.com now for your risk-free trial while supplies last. 1-800-400-9280. That's 1-800-400-9280.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, and in for Amy, John Cass. Let's see if we can get another couple calls in on Hillary and the Clinton Foundation revelations, thanks to the Associated Press. Phil on the northwest side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and John. John, you're one of my favorite fill-ins, you and Deborah Rowe, and I hate when Dan goes off. I feel lost.
I hate when he goes off, too.
I'd like to know, I'd like to say that Dan shouldn't talk about the Clinton Foundation as far as killing everybody figuratively. It should be literally, because there's a wake of dead people around them ever since Arkansas. And I would like to know if you guys could expand on Clinton's involvement, Bill Clinton's involvement on the expansion of the CFR and the amount of jobs he took out with EPA and the amount of nuclear weapons he armed China with. Because all this
That's a long. Hey, I got one for you, Phil.
The expansion of Council on Foreign Relations. What's CFR?
CFR, Council on Foreign Relations.
Yeah, okay.
They're ran by the Trilateral Commission, and both Republicans and Democrats are members. But Clinton did a massive expansion on it, and I wish you guys would expand on that.
Thanks,
I got one for Dan. If you're Huma, what's her name? How do you say
Mrs. Carlos Danger.
Mrs. Carlos
Danger. Show some respect.
And Hillary, in a couple, as this builds up, if Hillary goes, meet me in China, Huma, we got to sit down. Meet me in Chinatown at midnight for spaghetti dinner in Chicago.
You mean Hillary gets the call?
If
Hillary makes
Huma
call.
makes the call to Huma. It says, meet me in Chinatown for spaghetti dinner at midnight. Do you go?
Well, the problem is if you don't go, they'll come for you anyway.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, Joshi, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
If you're aged 59 and a half or older with a 401k plan and still working, stop what you're doing and call Arlington Capital Management at 855-471-5796. They'll help you actively manage your 401k, show you strategies to avoid major declines, and capitalize on opportunities. There are benefits with age, and this is one of them. At 59 and a half, you're entitled to new opportunities in the investment world that can dramatically improve your results and even lower your fees. Call 855-471-5796 now and take the first step toward getting more out of your retirement assets. The team at Arlington Capital Management proactively explores the market, our economy, and all of the variables that offset your investments. Call 855-471-5796 now for a complimentary consultation. That's 855-471-5796 or visit arlington-capital.com. You worked hard to accumulate your nest egg. Now, it's time to put your money to work for you.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Tom, Chicago firefighter, called to refinance his $400,000 5% non-reaffirmed mortgage. Until recently, Tom's only option would have been to pay down his loan over $35,000 and secure a FHA loan. I have outstanding news. My team can now refinance homeowners discharged at least 4 years from a Chapter 7 bankruptcy into a conventional loan instead of an FHA loan. This is a huge game changer for borrowers looking to refinance their non-reaffirmed mortgages after a Chapter 7. If you like to refinance out of your non-reaffirmed mortgage with a ridiculously high rate, like Tom did, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License D4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7 along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. They'll also keep you cool this summer with temporary air conditioners for any situation, big or small. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com. Reserve now for summer festival season.
Coming up at 6:06, what is the future for Tiny Dancer? John Cass has great insights on it. We're going to get them from John Cass after we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Amy and John, or Dan and John, more than 36 reported dead in Italy. A major earthquake there. Fox with the latest on that story in just a moment. A vigil held for victims of a deadly Chicago fire. The Cubs hold off the Padres while the White Sox trounce the Phillies. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lisa Brady. They're digging through earthquake rubble by hand in some of the small towns rocked by a magnitude 6 quake overnight in central Italy. Rescuers finding dozens alive so far, but at least 37 dead. Fox's Amy Kellogg en route to the scene.
This took place in the middle of the night when people were sleeping, which is so terribly unfair, doubly unfair, because people don't have the time to react that they might if they were wide awake. But in any event, the images are quite dramatic of the destruction that has been done. And clearly, as the morning progresses here, we will have a better fix on exactly the extent of the damage and how many people have been killed or injured by this massive earthquake, which included several aftershocks.
Meantime, there's late word of another quake hitting central Burma, magnitude 6.8. No immediate reports of casualties there. President Obama pledging long-term help to flood-ravaged Louisiana.
This is not a one-off. This is not a photo op issue.
This is Donald Trump tweeted the president's visit to the region should have come days ago. FEMA ramping up temporary housing efforts for the tens of thousands displaced by that deadly tragedy. The Clinton campaign firing back at an AP report about her meetings as Secretary of State with dozens of Clinton Foundation donors or soon-to-be donors.
RNC Chairman Reince Priebus says, quote, "This is among the strongest and most unmistakable pieces of evidence of what we've long suspected at Hillary Clinton's State Department. Access to the most sensitive policymakers in U.S. diplomacy was for sale to the highest bidder."
Fox's Kristen Fisher. Priebus echoing Trump's call for a special prosecutor. But Hillary Clinton's campaign says the report gives a distorted portrayal, cherry-picking a limited subset of her schedule. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Skies are cloudy. We have 71 degrees. 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Search continues this morning to find a vehicle stolen from a Sycamore home where a mother and son were found dead earlier this month. Police say it appears someone broke into Patricia and Robert Wilson's home and killed them with a blunt object. Investigators now say the killer fled the scene in the mother's white Chevy Impala, and they're intensifying their search for that Chevrolet this morning. An $11,000 reward is being offered in that case. Family and friends still mourning after a man and 3 young sisters were killed. A possible arson fire on Chicago's South Side. A vigil held last night to remember 3-month-old Melody Watson, 4-year-old Madison, and 7-year-old Shania Staples. Authorities say the 2 older victims were found dead early yesterday inside an apartment building that caught fire near 81st and Essex. A man accused of shooting at a Chicago police officer lashed out during his bail hearing, telling a judge he should have smoked the suspect's words, the officer, after being ordered held without bond. Kentrell Prager, who is charged with attempted murder, telling a Cook County judge the officer shot at him first. But after Prager's comments yesterday, the judge ordered court reporters to write it all down. Wasn't immediately known if Prager has legal representation. He was arrested after being found hiding under a porch, and a gun was recovered from that scene. Authorities are trying to determine if a driver should be cited after a woman was hit and killed by a vehicle on Chicago's northwest side. Police say a car slammed into Cynthia Tatman yesterday while jogging in the 6300 block of West Devon. Police are searching for suspects following an attempted burglary at a Libertyville gun shop. Authorities say a pickup truck slammed into the front windows of Just Target Guns yesterday morning. Two wearing masks got out and began walking around the store, then jumped back in the vehicle and drove off, realizing there were not any firearms on display. Sox over Philadelphia 9-1 thanks to a Jose Abreu home run. And the Cubs beat San Diego, backing Jake Arrieta to win number 16. The news service of Bank of America. Get where you're going and earn 3% cash back on gas along the way with the Bank America Cash Rewards credit card. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/getcashback. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
My America is really easy. I can sum up my America in about 9.5 seconds.
The Joe Walsh Show.
It's my life, it's my money, it's my family, it's my business. I'll be responsible for everything. Government, get the hell out of my life. 9.5 freaking seconds.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
That might have been 8.5 seconds.
Thousands of people are choosing the flexibility of working when they want, driving with Uber. You'll control your day, plus be able to start earning right away just by driving your own car.
I've got 2 kids. They're both in summer camp, and I'll drop them off. Then I turn on the Uber app, the ride requests come in, and I'm earning extra money. Working when I want, being my own boss. Driving with Uber is definitely the best option for me.
Earn the extra money you need on your schedule. Get started today. Sign up right now. Go to uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now.
It's National Make-A-Will Month at LegalZoom.com, so it's time to take care of your will or trust. LegalZoom makes it easy. They're not a law firm, so there's no office visits or paying expensive hourly rates. Instead, you could save over $100 with LegalZoom's will or trust estate plan bundles. And if you don't know whether a will or trust is right for you, don't worry. You'll work with an independent attorney available in 48 states to get advice on what you need. Do the right thing this month at LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom.com.
Our time is 6:06. Let's get an update on your ride to work this morning. Guardian Security Services Traffic Center time. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Skokie, power lines are down, affecting Oakton, and it's closed between St. Louis Avenue and Monticello. Edens is fine. The Kennedy, a little heavy inbound out of the River Road toll. Otherwise, it's good. The Eisenhower has delays. Manheim to Harlem, 38 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Southbound 29. Stevenson is 45 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 20 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, 23 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 421. 8094 has cleared up after some roadwork issues. Traffic Service of Accountants. With summer vacation plans quickly approaching, you find your accounting team short-staffed. At Accountants, they offer professional temporary accounting and finance support when your employees head out for summer break. Call today or visit accountemps.com. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast comes from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, and here is our meteorologist, Ashley Benoit.
A couple of strong thunderstorms around today, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy, and humid. The storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds. High today, 83. Mostly cloudy and humid for tonight with a shower thunderstorm around, low 71. I'm Ashley Benoit on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 70 at O'Hare, 72 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next with Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass joining us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
This is not a one-off. This is not a photo op issue.
This story relies on utterly flawed data. It's cherry-picked, a limited subset of Secretary Clinton's schedule to give a distorted portrayal of how often she crossed paths with individuals connected to charitable donations to the Clinton Foundation.
What matters is, were there any that were as a result of giving money to the Clintons? The answer is yes, and that is in itself damning. It may not be illegal, but it's damning.
All lives do matter,
But when it comes to whites, guess what? We're not being shot at the rate of 6 times blacks are being shot at.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy, Chicago Tribune columnist John Cassidy. Did you like that Gary Johnson bite?
Yeah, that kind of gave me some excitement.
Gary Johnson on the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
blacks aren't
really exciting.
Whites aren't being shot at six times the rate of blacks. It's the opposite. That's why he gave some respect to Black Lives Matter for those that are considering Gary Johnson as a alternative to the dismal choice of Trump versus Clinton.
I do not give Black Lives Matter respect.
No. Speaking of
respect,
and disproportionately Black Lives Mattering, the body count in Chicago year to date, 469 people murdered, north of 2,500 people shot, 2,759. This according to HeyJackass.com, which is the outlet of record on these issues as far as I'm concerned.
Without minimum mandatory sentencing for gun crimes, and that was shot down by Kwame Raoul and others of the Black Caucus, you're not going to do anything.
A person is shot every 2 hours and 3 minutes in Chicago. A person is murdered every 12 hours and 8 minutes in Chicago. I mean,
by the same 1,400 guys.
Well,
right?
I mean, there is the recidivism issue, but those are just incredible data points. Think about that. Every 2 hours, someone is shot. Every 12 hours, someone is murdered in the city of Chicago. And this is happening on the watch of Tiny Dancer. And I figure since we've got a gumshoe like John Cass here, who's, down in the bowels of the city, talking to the people that matter, who know what's really going on and not going on.
Take the tongue out of your cheek.
We'd get a little insight into the future of Rahm Emanuel, political and otherwise.
You call him Tiny Dancer for years. I propose a different name now. I think we have to call him Mayor Littlefinger. Okay?
Are you referring to his finger, or is that a metaphor?
That's up to you. I'll leave that to you. The point being, he is impotent in terms of stopping this.
Don't say that word. I'm doing my Sonny Bono impersonation from
because, look, he set up a wall. You know about the wall? The wall between the mayor and the police?
Wait
a minute.
That's not how it's supposed to work, is it?
He put up a wall. He said, I put up a wall. You have the police on that. I'm just the mayor. I'm not making any decisions.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. It's all Eddie Johnson. So about a while back, I had lunch with the superintendent,
Eddie Johnson.
And I said, did you ever watch The Wire? And he said, oh, yeah. The thing is...
What does that oh, yeah mean?
Oh, yeah.
I'm living
right. I don't know, but I think he is, right? I think you have the mayor of Chicago, crime spree, unable to do anything about it, people getting slaughtered. There was a little baby. Every night, a child is shot. Sometimes at vigils for other children shot. This is how bad it is.
I know. It's
the mayor...
absurd.
Democrats are not being held to account on this. Wait a minute now. Where's the media? And some of our media friends listen to this show because I can see the tweets now.
Well, because Republicans cut funding to Chicago, so it's all Republicans' fault.
I would go up to, if I were the assignment editor of all the major TV stations, I would say, find Kwame Raoul and ask him why he killed mandatory minimum, 5 years mandatory minimum for gun crimes. Why did the Black Caucus do that? And until you have the Black Caucus and mothers in these communities taking a lead, Eddie Johnson and all the
and
cops
fathers
in the
taking
world,
responsibility.
There are no fathers taking responsibility in certain neighborhoods, which is why.
I know.
And you know why that is? Because government is the daddy. And after what, 50 years of the war on poverty, this is what you get.
Government is a family destroyer, not a family builder. The government can't raise kids, never has, never will.
Government is the disunificator.
Well, so first of all, the idea that there is a wall between the mayor and the police department
right, I know, right?
is so
absurd.
Well, it is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This is, I mean, I thought it was unbelievable when Richie Daley used to get up on the dais, when they put the little step there for him so he could see over the
Well,
threshold.
you've seen Child's Play, so you know how small Chucky can be when he doesn't look over there.
That's right. And
he gets the hair getting flying up in the eyes.
So I used to listen to his press conferences with incredulity at the whole, Chicago public schools. Hey, somebody should do something about those schools because I'm just the mayor. They're a separate taxing body. They got a board. I got nothing to do with that. So Rahm does that now to kind of offload some property tax increases to CPS. He's got nothing to do with that. You have to talk to CPS. Now he's doing it with the police department. The mayor has nothing to do. The civilian leader of the city has nothing to do with the police department.
It shows you the depth of the wounds of Mayor Littlefinger over the Laquan McDonald, his handling of that video, which he sat on to get through his reelection. He threw if he had just put it out when he had to do it, he wouldn't have thrown the entire Chicago police force under the bus. But by holding it back, basically all the cops got thrown under the bus, and that's the problem.
Well,
and if I were a cop right now, and I know that a lot of coppers listen to the show, I wouldn't be getting out of my car. There's on the west side of Chicago, gangbangers are sitting in front of these guys doing donuts. Right, donuts in their cars, and probably some stolen, street racer.
It's
right?
Taunting them.
You know what that is? That's like the dog lifting its leg. That's what it is in real terms. And the coppers are just going, okay, fine, go ahead.
And that's precisely what Dean Angelo, the FOP president, predicted what would happen after that report, propaganda piece that Lori Lightfoot and her friends put out that. The 12,000 plus officers of the Chicago Police Department are all part of a racist conspiracy to treat minorities badly, which of course includes
black cops.
Well, 4,000 and almost half of the department is minority, but apparently they're racist too.
What's stupid about that? A lot of these cops, black, white, whatever color, I don't care. I don't care. These young kids go out there because they want to protect the communities. They think they're doing battle with evil, right? And they have no idea. And then all of a sudden, the mayor says, hey, there's a wall. I don't know what they're doing.
Go ask Lori Lightfoot.
Yeah.
Well, and so here's the big question then. Is Rahm done? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I know because we don't have the capacity for sustained outrage and that leading to activism in this city. I know
you do.
Well,
I don't.
But I mean,
I heard you the other day. You had some going on.
I'm tired of the mealy-mouthed nonsense, and I'm just not going to indulge it. But I know we don't as a city, as a state, because otherwise Rahm would be recalled, or there'd be at least a recall petition before the city council and before the state. But
there's
that's
no
not
money
happening.
in it. There's no money in the reason why there's outrage. I get outraged. You get scared. You're a liberal. You get, not that you are, but say you are. You get scared. You pay me off. I shut up and go away. And maybe someday I put my two sons in charge of a Budweiser distributorship that I ripped on. That's how it works. Everybody knows this.
Well, if only I was.
This is Chicago.
If only I was a member of our city's Jackson 5.
Elk heads. I'd like to see those elk heads in this studio right now. I'd throw my fedora right on top of those horns.
Well, so I know we have still 2.5 years to endure Tiny Dancer, but is he done? Is this over? He's not running for re-election.
I can't see him running. Can you?
No.
I can't see him running. Right now we're having this ballet of dwarfs.
He's checked out. To me, it seems like he's checked out. If you were thinking about re-election, not to mention, I mean, just even look at it in the most cynical political terms.
Like the way we do, yeah.
I'm just going to do this because I need to figure out a way to get reelected to get my numbers back up to have a chance in a crowded field. I would tactical units, bring overwhelming resources, ask the governor for additional state police support for Chicago police. I would be doing everything and anything I could do to focus on providing for safety in neighborhoods that don't have the provision of safety. And he's not doing anything. He's doing the opposite. He's burying his head in the sand and saying, go talk to Eddie Johnson.
And the press, unfortunately, they let Daley off the hook on corruption. I think a lot of them did because he was the white guy and he offered stability. Those are the code words for white guy. This guy is like, he's Horatio at the bridge, And if he doesn't go, if he's not in there, who do we have?
Yeah, that's
Right.
That's the argument. That's the argument that's advanced all the time. This is the best we can do.
Because we're going to be Detroit. Remember they said that about the non-entity. Really, he wasn't a great candidate at all, Chuy Garcia. Terrible candidate.
Yeah.
But it was going to be, we're going to have Detroit. We're going to have Detroit. Well, guess what?
We have Detroit.
We have Detroit.
Yeah. But that really is the argument. It's the argument that a lot of Republicans use to rationalize voting for Rahm as well.
They're not Republicans.
Well,
they're the guys in the movie Red Dawn. They're the daddy selling the kid, putting the electric suppository in the kid so he gets tracked down by the Russians.
The Vichy Republicans, as it
Vichy
were.
Republicans. Yeah.
We're going to take your calls on this too. I want to also a couple of very disturbing stories about police officers in fast food joints from around the country, and whether we're going to see that here, because hasn't Rahm contributed to the animosity towards police, the dog with the leg up, as you use as you.
I shouldn't have said that on
John.
the air, right?
Well, no, I mean that's what it is. But we'll talk about that and take your calls right after this.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Let's check out the weather today. A few strong thunderstorms. Storms could bring flooding and damaging winds, so be careful of the rain. Tonight, mostly cloudy and humid, with the shower thunderstorms around low 70 as the Chicago Fire take on the LA Galaxy at Toyota Park. And then tomorrow, mostly cloudy and humid, with the shower thunderstorms again as I go see one of my sons play college soccer. Now for Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, John. Thanks, Dan. Good morning. In Skokie, Oakton is closed between St. Louis Avenue and Monticello, down power lines. Eden's inbound. Little heavy approaching the junction. 20 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. The Kennedy is 24 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. The Eisenhower delays are Wolf to Harlem. 45 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 30. Stevenson is 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, still fine outbound. Ryan, 24 minutes, 95th to the Loop, I-57, 24 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop Ford, 22. 8094 has cleared up after some overnight delays. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
What's your caliber? Black Rhino Concealment knows many AM 560 listeners carry or plan to and want the best holsters. For concealed carry, range practice, or competitive shooting, Black Rhinos are comfortable and safe. Every holster is handcrafted by veterans of 100% virgin Kydex with American-made fasteners. From precision fit and finish to secure retention and quick draw, a Black Rhino is the finest holster at a modest price. Backed by a lifetime material warranty and workmanship guarantee, Black Rhino has tactical carrier and concealed carry systems for every caliber. You and your firearm deserve a Black Rhino. The Second Amendment protects your right to bear arms, and Black Rhino protects those arms. Black Rhino Concealment, we hold your caliber against you. Visit blackrhinoconcealment.com or call 847-783-6499 for showroom info. Use the promo code AM560 for a 10% discount on your first order. That's 847-783-6499.
Attention market watchers. Until recently, the market hadn't seen back-to-back days of 500-point losses since November of 2008. What if you had no market exposure? What if you didn't have to worry about the markets? How would you sleep? Leave the volatility behind. Hi, this is Jack Taboda. Our proprietary income strategies provide reliable, inflation-protected income, guaranteed for life, with no market exposure. Call me at 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. You've worked hard to build your wealth. I work hard to protect it. 630-777-7955.
Insurance products may be presented and guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company represented. Securities offered through Pro Equities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Harvest Investment Services LLC, a registered investment advisor. Taboda and Associates and Harvest Investment Services LLC are independent of Pro Equities Inc.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and John Cass in for Amy this morning. And John, talking about Chicago, we're going to get to your calls. But I wanted to raise these Taco Bell stories. Taco Bell, one in Alabama. A cashier told uniformed deputies that law enforcement would not be served and that they needed to leave.
Okay.
And that cashier has since been fired. And then in Louisville, Kentucky yesterday, Taco Bell launched an investigation after 5 Louisville Municipal Police Department officers were denied service at one of its restaurants. One man behind the counter, when they walked up to place their order, walked away saying, "I'm not taking their order." And then a young lady stepped forward that she said she would take the order. The officers decided to leave.
These aren't Greek restaurants.
Anyway.
They're not Greek restaurants.
Not Greek restaurants.
Because I'll tell you something, growing up in the food business in Chicago, you want cops around. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't want
That's
what you want.
That's lost on those frontline Taco Bell employees.
Unless
clearly.
I'm going to see, unless my friends with their hats on sideways showing up in Facebook holding guns that'll, after they're shot, might not want to be hanging around.
I don't think you can rely on deep social thinkers like Common from Chicago.
Great actor though, right?
To provide for your protection. But I mean, these are isolated incidents. Even though they're 2 Taco Bells, it's probably coincidental. But the underlying culture, probably young people. I don't know the profiles of the 2 employees in questions at the 2 different Taco Bells, but the culture, the cultural attitudes that are being formed between young people in particular and police,
also
dangerous.
Oh, that's been going on for a while. Another thing I got to ask all the coppers who are listening: if you ever go with your partner to, and now 2-man squads, now that they're threatening to shoot you. If you ever go to a restaurant, does your partner get a free lunch and you don't? There's something going on in Chicago where some guys might get a free lunch and the other guys don't. What is that about?
I don't know. What is it about?
I don't know. Something going on. I don't get it.
Anthony in Plainfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Thanks for taking my call. I think the question about Tiny Dancer running again, I think he's going to safely pilot a controlled crash of the mayor's office and hope to get a cabinet or some juicy post if, God forbid, Hillary gets elected to president.
Than's for the call, Anthony, and for the aviation metaphor.
That's right to Dan's heart, as the pilot that he is.
But the
chief information. How about this? In charge of freedom of information
at the Clinton Foundation.
For the country.
Well, what if she's not elected? But what if she is? Because Hillary doesn't.
I said she wouldn't be elected.
But let's
back in the day when there were all other nominees or possible nominees, I said there's no way that the establishment, which could be elected.
Well, you may still be right, but the issue is if she is elected, let's say, just to play that out, Rahm may not have a soft landing there because Hillary doesn't like him much.
She doesn't like him. Bill likes him.
Yeah.
Bill.
So who's in control? Maybe he could be the attaché to the first dude.
Maybe he could be the body man for the first laddie.
Boy, that's a big job.
What is that body man thing?
Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. No, Rahm's not done. And, John, it's good to hear your voice and for the occasional update to know that soccer is still being played someplace. But
Thanks, Ralph.
Rahm's not done because the voters in Chicago are so profoundly stupid that they will continue to reelect him. They'll forget all this stuff. He'll transform himself into Rahm the candidate, and he'll convince a lot of the morons who pulled the switches for him the first and the second time around to do it again. And as far as the cabinet goes, look, Hillary hates everybody. It's just a matter of degrees of hatred. So does she hate Rahm less? I think Rahm would be a perfect Department of Justice head because it's clear you don't need to know the law or to follow it to work in an Obama or a Clinton Department of Justice.
Thanks for the call, Ralph.
You could put him in charge of walls. He could build a wall.
As long as he keeps that towel around himself, because nobody wants to see that again, except maybe Eric Mass.
Except the one who tickled the people.
Yeah.
Tickler. That is the most. Can you imagine Mayor Littlefinger coming up to you in the shower naked and poking you in the arm?
What about what Ralph said?
With his finger?
What about what Ralph said? If Tiny Dancer puts on the cardigan sweater again and goes face to camera and says, I've made some mistakes and I'm
sweater?
sorry.
Yeah.
What about that? Could he get reelected in the city?
Like Hugh Beaumont and Leave It to Beaver.
Could he get reelected?
Depends on who's running
Well, I'll
against him.
tell you,
Dan Proft?
The fact that it's an open question says a lot about Chicago.
You live in the city?
Kent in Lincoln Park. Hey, Kent.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Good morning, John. Yeah, two things. Number one is I think when Emmanuel threw McCarthy under the bus, I think he ended his political career. A question I have for you, John. I talked to you back in 2012, and I thought Romney was going to win the election, but you accurately told me that he wasn't. And I happened to catch a column of yours in Real Clear Politics in which you said that you believed Donald Trump was going to win. Do you still believe that?
I said that Hillary could not win because this is an insurgent year, and she's the establishment candidate. But, who knows now?
I don't know. Ryan says Trump's going to be ahead by Labor Day. He may be right with this Clinton Foundation stuff.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, if your kids haven't started back to school yet, they will be in a matter of days, and it's hard to believe that it's back to school season already, but it is here. And for some parents, that's not exactly good news, especially if you're not happy with your child's school or teacher. Maybe it's time to make the switch this school year and send your child to a private school. Now, you can make that switch for half the price of the regular tuition when you simply visit halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you'll find dozens of local private schools that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at, you guessed it, half the price. There's no catch. It's very simple. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and make that school switch. Halfpriceschools.com has schools located all across the Chicagoland area, including Kankakee, Palos Heights, Wheaton, Westchester, South Holland, Chicago, Arlington Heights, just to name a few. Now, the school year is here, so don't wait another day and don't settle for a public school that isn't right for you and your child. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, President and CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 33-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. We have so many wonderful clients, but with me today is someone very special.
Hi, I'm Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA. We are a nonprofit student organization battling the bias and indoctrination in America's high schools and colleges every day. We are on over 1,000 campuses and continue to grow. Precision Payroll has been there since day one and has helped us immensely as we grew to a truly national organization. No one in the business is better than Precision Payroll. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Charlie. What you're doing is so important. To learn more and help, go to tpusa.com. That's tpusa.com.
And for your business, let Precision Payroll make a difference for you. Call Tom at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or online at precisionpayroll.com.
Thank you, Charlie.
AM 560, The Answer.
Nice. Is Trump softening on immigration, and does it matter? We'll discuss at 6:36, but now let's check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Clouds and 71 degrees. More than 3 dozen are dead. 150 missing after a major earthquake shook central Italy. Meantime, officials say a powerful quake measuring 6.8 has shaken central Myanmar. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake hit what's being termed as Wednesday afternoon near the ancient western city of Chauk. Turkey says it sent tanks and special forces into Syria to help clear a border town of the ISIS group, the Islamic State group. Syrian opposition fighters are also part of today's cross-border incursion. This happening as Vice President Joe Biden is in Turkey meeting with that country's leaders. The first major high-level meeting with Western authorities since Turkish leaders rebuffed a failed coup last month. Donald Trump says the controversy over ties between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department may be a threat to the nation.
If our Secretary of State can be bought or bribed or sold, look, what's happening right now with government favors, then the whole American system is threatened.
Speaking to supporters in Texas, the GOP presidential nominee says it's clear the Clintons set up what he called a business to profit from public office. Officials in India say heavy monsoon rains are causing the Ganges River and its tributaries to rise above the danger level. 175 have been killed by drowning or electrocution. Lightning has killed another 57. The search continues this morning to find a vehicle stolen from a Sycamore home where a mother and son were found dead earlier this month. Police are looking for a white Chevy Impala that used to belong to Patricia and Robert Wilson. Family and friends are mourning after a man and three young sisters were killed in a possible arson fire on Chicago's south side. And authorities are trying to determine if a driver should be cited after a woman was struck and killed by a vehicle on Chicago's northwest side in the 6300 block of West Devon. White Sox beat Philadelphia 9-1, Cubs over San Diego 5-3, and the news, service of Bank of America. Want cash back at Costco, Sam's Club, or BJ's today? Use your Bank Americard Cash Rewards Card, Visa credit card, and earn 2% cash back at wholesale clubs. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/getcashback. 6:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's back. The biggest conservative event in the Midwest returns this October. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2016, October 29th in Itasca, featuring Alan West, Michelle Malkin, Mike Gallagher, Stephen Moore, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Joe Walsh, and many more. Tickets start at just $29. Order your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Precision Payroll of America, Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists, and by the Illinois Policy Institute.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
6:36 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, we're seeing delays from the River O'Toole to Foster and the Diversey to the Burns Circle. 27 minutes O'Hare to downtown, quicker than the Express. Outbound 31 minutes. Edens has a 2-minute delay inbound from Cicero to the Junction. Outbound it's still fine. Eisenhower now 53 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 33. Stevenson is 50 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Ryan 25 minutes, 95th to downtown, I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge, crash before 119th in the right lane. Bishop Ford at 20 minutes. North on Tri-State heavy, Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Traffic is a service of accountants. You need accounting and finance professionals for long-term or recurring projects. If you prefer the same professional to handle your project through its duration, Accountemps salaried professional service may be the solution. Call today or visit accountemps.com. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Strong storms expected today. Some of those could bring heavy rain and damaging winds and a high of 82. 71 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next with Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass joining us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune Page 2 columnist John Cass.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And, John, you're talking about this movie. You're saying, I got to see this movie, Hell or High Water.
You've got to see it. It is the best movie I've seen in a long time.
Did you see Gleason, the documentary about Steve Gleason?
No, I'm sorry, I missed that.
You better bring a handkerchief.
I'll bring a handkerchief to that. But I'll tell you, Hell and High Water, it is just, I wrote about it today in the Tribune. I wrote a review.
Why is it important?
It's important because what it tells you, it's not overtly political like a lot of the movies in Hollywood. It's not telling you how to think. But you see rural people, rural Americans, flyover country Americans, that the networks ignore, that the media mostly ignores, people who have been devastated and are by government policy. It starts out, as I say in the column, on a wall. You see on a bank wall in a Texas town the words, 3 tours in Iraq, no bailout for me. That's the graffiti. And that tells you what you need to know about this country. It's what Trump's tapped into. It's what Hillary's trying to suppress. There's something going on here in the country that I don't think we've fully articulated, but there's a quiet desperation out there, and it's bad. And I recommend this movie to everybody. It's not for little children. I don't want to see a little child at this movie. It's not overtly violent, but there is some violence in it. It is just the best Western, best movie I've seen.
Most men live lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with the song still in their heart, you know.
Oh, my Lord. And the other day you referenced Jonathan Swift to Kristen.
I did. I try
and kind of surprised her. And I
try and elevate this. I mean, as a man of letters like yourself, I thought you would appreciate that.
Okay, good. I'll start reading the monologue from Ulysses at the end.
Here's the thing about that. We talked to J.D. Vance, who's the author of the Hillbilly Elegy, yesterday.
Yes, I have to read that.
He came from Appalachia, went on to graduate from Yale Law School, and successful. Obviously, wrote this book that's generating a lot of attention, and to talk about trying to remain humble to where he came from and not be too big for his britches and this idea. But the media generally, D.C. Press Corps, generally characterizes what you just described. Well, those are, the dumb hillbillies. Those are the uneducated white men.
They were important to Clinton. They were important to the Democrats when they could use them. But after the Democrats and the establishment Republicans slapped them around, go to Iraq. We love the flag. So do you. Go there, get your legs blown off, come back. No job for you. No job for your kid. All that stuff.
Not great health care from the VA.
All that stuff, over time, they're angry. And, but
they're...
The media, look, the establishment media and the establishment political class are the same. The media, generally, are the clerks of the emperor. They're the ones who run around telling the unwashed about the great virtues that the emperor possesses, even though he never earned them. Just like Obama is this ethics czar, or Hillary is going to fight evil because why? Because she's a liar. I don't know. Whatever they say, they say.
I like that.
Out there in the West Texas country, in this movie, Hell or High Water, it's a different deal.
The D.C. Press Corps and for the Chicago Press Corps, for that matter. I mean, that's the junior varsity, to borrow a phrase of the
Yeah, I'm part of it.
D.C. Press Corps. But I mean, yeah, I like that. That is a good analogy. They're clerks for the emperors. That is what they
Isn't
are.
that what they are?
Because what I understand, and now
Clerics, actually, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
Cleric. Yeah.
But now my understanding has been challenged because to listen to them, these are just like dumb. Who cares about? These are just dumb white guys. They don't have college degrees, John. They're not important. And
it's
so,
really an insult, isn't it?
Well, Mike Rowe, from the Discovery shows, Dirty Jobs, and
guy in blue jeans working with his hands,
and one of my favorite shows, Deadliest Catch, which Mike Rowe narrates, of course. So Mike Rowe posted on Facebook a very interesting observation. He writes, if the media is referring to Trump supporters who happen to be male Caucasian suffering from a lack of knowledge brought about by an absence of formal or practical instruction, then I guess uneducated white men is a fair description. However, if the Trump supporters in question are being dubbed quote-unquote uneducated simply because they didn't earn a 4-year degree, I'd say the media's slip is showing. The words uneducated white men now appear in hundreds of articles about Trump, but if this truly important information, where were these reporters 4 years ago in the last election? An even greater majority of African-American males who voted for President Obama had no college on their resume. Maybe I missed it, but I don't recall any headlines or articles that delved into Obama's popularity among uneducated black men.
What you're outlining, Dan, is something we talked about earlier, much earlier in the day. There is a danger coming in this country, and I don't think it's fully realized. When you have first of all, you have the political elites just dismissing a whole class of people. Then you have their mouthpieces mocking them incessant mocking of people who were considered the backbone of this country. Go to those wars, boys. Drink Budweiser. Drive a Chevy. All those guys are told to shut up and go away. Thing is, they don't go away. And when they get angry enough with all these... in the column today, I read a review of in the New Yorker, and it was a simpering, it wasn't John Simon. John Simon in the New Yorker was great in his day. Mm-hmm. This was a simpering little review. As soon as I read the simpering review in the New Yorker of Hell and High Water, I knew I had to see the movie.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, what they're really saying, what you're describing, is that you don't matter and you're not needed in the brave new world. That's what they're saying. So, I mean, that they'll kind of shut up.
You got to mock them.
The mocking is, yes.
They have the moral imperative. What they do is they create the racist thing. If you don't like Obama, you must be a racist. If you don't like what Hillary and Obama have done to your economy, then you are a racist. So, therefore, I can mock you as an elite media, effete elite media.
Well, Mike Rowe asked the question, if the media didn't care about the lack of college among black men supporting Obama, why do they care so much about the lack of college among white men supporting Trump? Moreover, when exactly did the lack of college become synonymous with the lack of education? And he goes on to, of course, talk about apprentice programs and on-the-job training and so many people that have achieved such
I don't have a college degree.
Great success. You don't?
No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, see,
I don't. I'm not saying I'm working class hero.
You're an uneducated white guy.
I guess so.
Yeah. You have no place in the 21st century, John.
Who could reference Thackeray by giving you vegetables?
All right, let's go. Let's wheel Cass out of here. We got to get somebody with a college degree knows what they're talking about. Yeah, I mean, but that really is it. Now compare this comparison.
Okay.
Because the uneducated Trump supporters. Cher speaking at a Hillary Clinton fundraiser, introducing Hillary Clinton at a fundraiser in Massachusetts. Listen to the dizzying intellect of our Hollywood elites. And part of that whole kind of group of elites that Victor Davis Hanson famously said in explaining Trump's popularity, he's basically saying, I know the elites in all these sectors, and they're even worse than you think. Cher's about to tell you how bad she is. Here's Cher talking about, these religious zealots.
And then, I don't know if you know this, but I was watching the news, and they were talking about how Donald Trump, first reader's name, Donald Trump had gone to this 7-hour closed-door meeting with these 400 religious zealots and
religious zealots. These are evangelical pastors, kind of an interfaith group of religious leaders, but they're just zealots to be laughed at and ridiculed because people who believe in God are idiots.
You know what you believe in if you're sheriff, besides Vaseline on a lens? You believe in government. You believe, they believe, here's what they believe. They would call that zealotry, Christianity, but then they will say the phrase, I believe in the theory of evolution. It's not that it's just they acknowledge it. They believe in it.
How about a little bit more?
See?
How about a little bit more share on women's rights, and how they've been torn asunder by Trump and Pence, who aren't even in office. Well, Pence is.
I know what they will try to do. They will try to turn back every clock. They will try to take away every one of your rights. And like they've done with women, women have lost their rights in such unbelievable ways. I feel like what happened to the 70s? We already fought this battle.
Sorry, I stopped on that.
Mrs. Bono, a follow-up. Women have lost their rights in so many ways. Please count the ways. Could you explain the ways in which women have lost their
rights?
Well,
they can drive.
Yeah.
This is not Saudi Arabia. They can actually go to college. I mean, what is she talking about?
She doesn't know.
She doesn't know. She's a bumbling idiot who was a slim, hip, very attractive person back in the, last century.
Yeah.
But right now, she's just some old lady with bad plastic surgery. Shut up, weirdo.
She's gone from I got you, babe, to I'm with her, and it's poisoned her mind.
Chick. Gypsies, tramps, and thieves.
And then,
Cherokee woman.
You have the obligatory I'm Donald Trump, Stalin, Hitler.
I was thinking, all despots, Stalin, Hitler, but then I thought, even though they said the same things, we're going to make Germany great again.
Yeah.
The problem is that if it was just some idiot who a reject from the 60s, that's okay. The fact is that I read that sentiment or that the tone of it, the color of it, let's say, in major newspapers throughout this country. Okay?
There's no question.
And what Mike Rowe's saying, and that the difference is, again, problematic and dangerous.
But what you don't understand is the people that are comparing Trump to Hitler and Stalin, who write for op-ed pages, they have college degrees, so they know better. Rick in Downers Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how you guys doing?
How you doing,
I was
Rick?
wondering, we got all these college-educated geniuses in Washington and in Chicago, running Chicago. And look at the damage they've done. I'd rather have somebody who doesn't have a college degree, if having a college degree does the damage they've done. And, John, this is for you. Soccer is not a sport.
Hey, you know what? It is a sport. My sons play it. One's playing it Thursday. I got to see him. Tonight there's the LA Galaxy at the Fire.
To close
it's a sport because it's harder to score with your feet than your hands. Okay.
Hey. To close this out on the other topic, it calls to mind, of course, Bill Buckley's formulation that he would rather be governed by the first 1,000 people out of the Boston telephone book than the entire faculty at Harvard. That's where I'm at.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
It is weather time. This is John Kess giving you the weather. Today, thunderstorms. Storms can bring flooding and damaging winds, so beware. High of 82. Tonight, at Toyota Park, it'll be mostly cloudy and humid with a shower thunderstorm around 70. And tomorrow, again, humid, cloudy, shower or thunderstorms. High of 82. Enjoy soccer. I love it. Dig it. Jim Telemonte, Italian.
Good morning.
Thank you.
All right, John. Good morning, Neymar. Good morning, Dan. And Skokie, we've still got a closure of Oakton between St. Louis and Monticello. There are down power lines there. Eden's getting heavier now. 27 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 21. The Kennedy, 40 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 45. The Eisenhower, 53 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound it's 40. The Stevenson holding at 50 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 37. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge. And outbound 25. There's a crash before 127th in the two right lanes. The northbound Tri-State has delays. 95th to 87th. Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis. And from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, the other tollways are still fairly light. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. We'll have reports on housing today, a major upgrade for Tesla's electric car, and small shareholders getting a say in a big beer merger. Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. What if you could store your IRA or 401k where you can see, touch, and hold it in person in the form of physical gold and silver coins? I know I would, and you can't do that with stocks. With the Augusta Gold and Silver IRA, you can transfer retirement savings into physical coins and store them where you can actually see them. Free shipping, zero management fees, and Augusta pays all upfront costs. Getting started is absolutely free. Rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau, enjoys a 98% five-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993 now for your free guide to Augusta Gold IRAs. Call toll-free 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993 or visit AugustaPreciousMetals.com.
The National Association of Realtors today reporting the number of existing homes sold in July. The Energy Information Administration giving us a weekly update on petroleum inventories. And Tesla says a new version of its Model S electric car will have a range of about 315 miles and boasts the best acceleration of any production car. The Model S P100D can go from 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. The new car has a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack. A British court siding with small shareholders in a merger that would create a company controlling nearly a third of the global beer market. The court wants the creation of two classes of shareholders, voting separately on AB InBev's $104 billion takeover of SAB Miller. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
What I care about is MyPillow. And guess what? If you haven't bought one yet, you are in luck. For August only, when you buy one premium MyPillow, you still get the second one free, but you'll also receive 2 additional Go Anywhere MyPillows for free. So you're actually getting 2 premium and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows for the price of 1. It's the best offer ever, and nearly every AM 560 host endorses MyPillow because it is the best. The National Sleep Foundation agrees because they made it their official pillow. It's washable to remove all the icky stuff that causes allergies, acne, and asthma, so it's healthy. And you'll sleep better. So visit MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special tab, and use the promo code Amy. You will get 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows for the price of 1, or you can call 800-489-0201, mention the radio listener special, and use the promo code Amy. That's MyPillow.com. or 800-489-0201.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
The success of a mid-sized business often comes down to one thing: managing your cash flow. I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, we take a personalized and proactive approach to structuring your cash management solutions to keep your financial assets safe and working for you. Our automated accounts receivable and accounts payable technology allows your business to grow without adding to your overhead expenses. And what truly sets Signature Bank apart is our personal approach. We get to know your business by rolling up our sleeves to work alongside you. Call me today for a review of your company's operational challenges.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Oh, I love my Solitube. So simple that it's genius. In only 2 hours, it transformed the darkest room of my house. Now, you've heard me talk about Solitube and this amazing technology. Here's how it works. There's a small roof dome which captures sunlight. Then a super reflective tubing transfers that sunlight into brilliant daylight that fills your room. Again, it takes 2 hours to install, and they clean up, and you'll never even know that they were there. and there's a lot of beautiful options to choose from, and it's affordable. The natural lighting truly brightened my home, and it seems so much bigger. So I highly recommend you brighten your home with natural light using Solatube daylighting systems. Call my friend Katie at Chicago Skylight Pros, that's a Solatube premier dealer, for your free consultation. Call Katie at 844-789-SHINE, S-H-I-N-E, SHINE. Mention me and receive $75 off your first Solatube. That's 844-789-SHINE, or visit ChicagoSkylightPros.com to see the video and the amazing before and after pictures. That's ChicagoSkylightPros.com.
No one likes being stuck in traffic. It's the same gut-wrenching feeling you have when you're stuck with your company's health insurance plan. Like most employees, you worry about paying too much for health benefits and prescriptions. Unfortunately, you probably are. But the good news is you don't have to. I'm Jim Lorenz from Clear Insight, and I have helpful solutions to lower your costs and improve your employee benefit package. Don't change the prescription drug, change where you buy it. I will give you a tool that will provide the cost of your drugs at the pharmacies near you. You'll seek out a gas station just to save 10 cents a gallon. So why don't you do the same with your health insurance and prescription drug benefits that could save you hundreds? I apply the same concepts to your health benefits. With plan design and simple technology, we're able to grant the rewards that help keep that copay in your pocket. As someone who's been in the health industry for over 25 years, I know firsthand that one-size benefits do not fit all. Talk to your HR person or manager. Tell them to visit clearinsightbenefits.com. See how we can return benefits to your employee benefits package.
Coming up at 7:07, we'll talk to National Review's Jonah Goldberg. Is it time for Jonah and National Review to disband #NeverTrump? We'll ask him after we check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Dan, here are the stories we're following right now. A development in a story we told you about a few days ago. A teenager now charged after he was shot by a state trooper on Chicago's South Side. Two advocacy groups are criticizing the Chicago Public Schools' newly proposed budget. Man charged with firing shots at Chicago police. We'll update that story for you. Donald Trump discusses a solution for Chicago's crime problem. Another Blagojevich appeal of his prison sentence is set to take place. Cubs held off the Padres last night, while the White Sox trounced the Phillies. And there are thunderstorms crossing the area this morning. Weather next after Fox WIND Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Lisa Brady. A race to find survivors in central Italy where a 6.2 magnitude earthquake leveled buildings in several small towns while people were sleeping overnight.
The mayor of one of the three towns devastated by the earthquake said his town no longer exists. The massive earthquake in central Italy has caused dozens of casualties. Emergency workers continue to search collapsed buildings. One happy image circulating social media is of a young survivor extracted from the rubble, draped in the Italian flag.
Fox's Courtney Walsh in Rome, where they could feel that quake from about 150 miles away. At least 38 dead, but dozens rescued so far. No word of any casualties from another quake in Burma. Magnitude 6.8. Another ballistic missile sent up by North Korea, an apparent protest over the annual U.S. military exercises underway with South Korea. Fox Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
The North Korean missile was fired from a submarine off the east coast of the country, and according to South Korean defense officials, the missile flew more than 300 miles, making it the longest flight of a North Korean submarine-launched missile. U.S. Strategic Command said it had tracked the missile over and into the Sea of Japan. Earlier this year, North Korea fired two other missiles from submarines, but they were believed to have exploded in midair after flying less than 20 miles. Lisa?
John, a spokesman for Hillary Clinton, pouncing on an AP report about access to her by foundation donors, Clinton Foundation donors, when she was Secretary of State.
85 out of 154 people having phone calls or face-to-face meetings with a sitting Secretary of State. And those 85 people are responsible for contributing over $150 million to the Clinton Foundation.
Fox's Kristen Fisher. The Clinton campaign says the story relies on utterly flawed data and cherry-picked a limited subset of her schedule. The Republican Party chief echoing Donald Trump's call for a special prosecutor. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly cloudy skies, 70 degrees, so we've had some rainfall across the area this morning. Northern Illinois has seen some rain and thunderstorms crossing the area. That will be consistent throughout this day, according to the National Weather Service, who tells us through AccuWeather that the chance of storms is about 50% throughout the day. And we'll keep our eyes on that as we're watching these stories develop this morning. A 15-year-old boy is charged after he was shot by a state trooper on Chicago's South Side. The teen faces felony counts of aggravated assault to an officer, aggravated fleeing, and criminal possession of a vehicle. State police say the suspect was shot when he tried to run over a trooper with a stolen car on the Chinatown feeder ramp. Search continues to find a vehicle stolen from a Sycamore home where a mother and son were found dead earlier this month. Police say it still appears someone broke into Patricia and Robert Wilson's home. Now they're trying to find the mother's white Chevy Impala, and there is an $11,000 reward in that case. 2 advocacy groups are criticizing the Chicago Public Schools' new proposed budget. The Civic Federation says it can't back the $5.4 billion spending plan because it relies on state funding that might not come. And from a large amount of borrowing, the Board of Ed is expected to vote on that budget later today. A high-profile Chicago activist accused of assaulting police officers during a protest doesn't like the judge assigned to his case. The attorney for Jamal Green moved to replace Judge Maura Boyle, a former Cook County prosecutor. A move Green is permitted once without having to specify a reason. Police say a Darien man was hit and killed by an Amtrak train in Hinsdale. The incident happened yesterday near Hinsdale Avenue and Stow Street. Service was delayed while authorities investigated. And a suburban father and son are accused of scamming area school districts out of millions of dollars and now face prison time after pleading guilty to mail fraud. Jovar Sultanali of Morton Grove and Kabir Kasim of Wheeling entered pleas in a Chicago federal courtroom. Authorities say they used their tutoring business to swindle over 200 school districts out of $33 million. They're also accused of bribing education officials across the country with cash, cruises, and strip club visits. Chicago sports, Jose Abreu, a home run, his 3rd straight game with a long ball in the Sox win over Philadelphia 9-1. Jake Arrieta wins number 16, Cubs over San Diego 5-3. The news, a service of Accountemps. Business needs can change from day to day. That's why at Accountemps, you can rely on their flexible staffing solutions to provide temporary accounting and finance professionals whenever you need an extra hand. Call today or visit Accountemps.com. Accountemps, a Robert Half company. 7:04, time to check the climate of your business with AirComfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
No matter what type of business you're in, having a strong business banking partnership can help your bottom line. I'm Jeff Boundy, president of Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company. We strongly believe that trust, service, and relationship are the cornerstone of a successful business banking partnership. Customers like Rick Williams of Pump Supply agree.
Hi, my name is Rick Williams, owner of Pump Supply Incorporated. As a business owner, I recognize the importance of relationships. I need a bank that understands my business and is able to respond quickly and creatively to the needs of my company. Cornerstone has been a valuable business partner and has helped me grow my company and seize opportunities as I come across them. Whether it's providing a line of credit or financing the acquisition of equipment or real estate, Cornerstone has been there for me every step of the way.
Thanks, Rick. Please visit cornerstonenb.com, or I invite you to give me a call at 847-654-3000 to explore a business banking partnership.
Equal Opportunity Lender, member FDIC.
Thousands of people are choosing the flexibility of working when they want, driving with Uber. You'll control your day, plus be able to start earning right away just by driving your own car.
I've got 2 kids. They're both in summer camp, and I'll drop them off. Then I turn on the Uber app, the ride requests come in, and I'm earning extra money. Working when I want, being my own boss. Driving with Uber is definitely the best option for me.
Earn the extra money you need on your schedule. Get started today. Sign up right now. Go to uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now.
It's National Make-A-Will Month at LegalZoom.com, so it's time to take care of your will or trust. LegalZoom makes it easy. They're not a law firm, so there's no office visits or paying expensive hourly rates. Instead, you could save over $100 with LegalZoom's will or trust estate plan bundles. And if you don't know whether a will or trust is right for you, don't worry. You'll work with an independent attorney available in 48 states to get advice on what you need. Do the right thing this month at LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom.com.
7:07 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Skokie, Oakton remains blocked west of McCormick in St. Louis and Monticello with downed power lines. Eden's inbound 26 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. The Kennedy's 40 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 25 from Montrose, 20 in the Express. Outbound 37 minutes to Montrose, 52 to the airport. The Eisenhower's 50 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 45. Stevenson, 46 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 37. Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State delays are from 95th to 87th. Archer to the Hinsdale Oasis, then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway, tight Farnsworth to Eola. Veterans Memorials, those 75th to the Reagan Tollway. Finley to Roosevelt. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Ashley Benoit.
A couple of strong thunderstorms around today, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy, and humid. The storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds. High today, 83. Mostly cloudy skies tonight and humid with a shower thunderstorm around and a low of 71. I'm Ashley Benoit on AM 560, The Answer.
Clouds and 70 degrees, winds south at 12. Your next news update is at 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
This is not a one-off. This is not a photo op issue.
This story relies on utterly flawed data. It's cherry-picked, a limited subset of Secretary Clinton's schedule to give a distorted portrayal of how often she crossed paths with individuals connected to charitable donations to the Clinton Foundation.
What matters is, were there any that were as a result of giving money to the Clintons? The answer is yes, and that is in itself damning. It may not be illegal, but it's damning.
All lives do matter. But when it comes to whites, guess what? We're not being shot at the rate of 6 times blacks are being shot at.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass.
I noted you said I'm lovely in your tweet. Somebody tweeted out from the station.
I did not say you're lovely.
John Cass.
I did not say
guess
that.
What?
I don't agree with that.
I am lovely, damn it.
On the inside, not
what
on the outside.
What about the chunk of hair on my back?
Oof.
Okay.
Come on.
Sorry.
This is 7 o'clock. People are trying to eat their breakfast, have morning coffee, drive without veering off into the wilderness.
I'm just saying, if I'm called lovely, I'm going to own it. Because I am, damn it.
Yeah. You're a special snowflake like the rest of us. Clinton Foundations. Yes, okay. Yeah. And do your best citizen Kane. Many donors to the Clinton Foundation met with her at State. How about that? And by many of her meetings with private interests who met with Hillary Clinton while she was Secretary of State, we're talking about more than half of these private interests generated $156 million in donations to the Clinton Foundation, according to this Associated Press report. So you think we have pay-to-play politics here in Chicago, although Hillary is from Park Ridge, so she's kind of in the DNA.
Right.
But
she did that interview with Rahm. Remember that suck-up interview? Because he asked with Mayor Littlefinger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
and here's the thing. They raised... In the National Review, I read they raised, I think in 2013 or 14, they raised 100. I don't know what the millions were, and only 9% went to charity. The rest goes to travel.
Well, it's expensive to travel on private jets.
Even if you're driving to Fantasy Island, like Bill Clinton.
It's all. Look, it's to do the Lord's work is expensive, and that's what the Clintons are doing. And I know that because James Carville said it. And what James Carville lied to me. Here's an interesting idea. This from Andy McCarthy in National Review Online, a friend Andy McCarthy. He said, impeach Hillary Clinton. That's the constitutional remedy for her corruption. the congressional plea for a criminal investigation is wrongheaded. Mrs. Clinton should be impeached, not indicted, writes McCarthy. Republicans keep telling us they're constitutional conservatives. Well, how about it? The remedy provided by the framers to deal with corrupt executive branch officials, including former officials who might seek to wield power again, is impeachment, not criminal prosecution.
Did you see Mitch McConnell doing that?
No, I don't. But it
Why
doesn't mean
not?
it's not a good idea. And for more good ideas on topic, we're now happy to be joined by a colleague of Andy McCarthy's. He's senior editor at National Review. He is Jonah Goldberg. Jonah, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
So how did Andy McCarthy's idea strike you about the perjury charges the House Republicans are trying to whip up and the renewed calls for criminal investigations? What about moving to an impeachment, something that Republicans could ostensibly control?
Well, I haven't seen Andy's piece. I've been sort of in a bunker like Howard Hughes with Kleenex boxes on my feet working on a book.
Okay.
But I guess I got to read the piece. But my first problem is she's not Secretary of State anymore, so she can't be impeached from a job she doesn't hold, right?
Well, his point is former officials who might seek to wield power again, that there's an impeachment remedy there.
That's interesting. Look, I'd be totally in favor of it. The problem is
peremptory impeachment,
like a prophylactic.
Well, let me put it this way. I think that one of the real problems with her becoming president is that it's entirely possible that she is impeached. And that she certainly won't have anything like a mandate, right? I mean, she's basically running to be not Donald Trump, and she's intensely disliked by vast swaths of the American people. The problem is how would that be perceived? What kind of PR problem would you have if the House GOP and then the Senate it preemptively impeached Hillary with 11 weeks before an election in order to get their losing presidential candidate in office? I mean, that's a lot to ask of the GOP press operation to spin that. And regardless of the merits, and look, I think on the merits, Hillary Clinton is incredibly corrupt. I think what people don't understand about the Clinton Foundation is that, yes, it did good works. James Carville's right, it did good works and all that kind of stuff. But the good works were the cost of doing business. That the way that is like mob bosses give out free turkeys on Thanksgiving to poor people.
No, that's Chicago Democrats.
Yeah, the Medicis used to, they built orphanages and churches and schools in medieval Italy, but they did that not because they were good-hearted people, but because that was sort of the cost of business. The point of the Clinton Foundation was to serve as essentially a super PAC transmission belt of information and donors for the House of Clinton. And in order to keep up appearances, they had to go do some nice things for some people in the third world. But that wasn't the point of it. That was sort of like paying the water bill and the light bill. That was the cost of business for what the real purpose was, which was to keep giving jobs to people like Sidney Blumenthal. It is, by definition, impossible to have an above-board, good-hearted, purely altruistic and philanthropic foundation that has Sidney Blumenthal on the payroll. It is like saying this church is completely above board. We're just running a brothel out of this little tiny corner of it.
Well, so now that this investigation has been done by Associated Press, and this is going to dominate a lot of attention for at least the next week, probably through Labor Day, and the emails are going to keep coming out thanks to our shadow Attorney General, Judicial Watch. And so this is going to cast a pall over the Hillary campaign through November 8th, with all the talk of the kind of 2 weeks post-convention of Trump giving the presidency to Hillary Clinton. Have we now done a full 180 where Hillary Clinton is poised to give the presidency to Donald Trump?
Well, if you actually look at just sort of the hard data points of the polls, it is still very hard to see Donald Trump's path to the White House. That said, it's not impossible. The conventional wisdom has been for a long time, he has somewhere between like a 20 and 30% chance of getting in there. But the weird irony of this, one of the many ironies of this election, is that both major parties have elected the one candidate who has a chance of losing to the other, which is a very weird thing. And I do think, look, I mean, everyone knows, who cares, at least about me, knows that I am not a big fan of Donald Trump. But
you made the Hannity list. You're in trouble. You're on the Hannity list.
Oh, tell me about it. Every day every day when I wake up, I look to see if my favorite horse's head is in my bed. But I think the real consequences of all of this is that Hillary Clinton gets elected, but is the most damaged goods that we've ever seen enter office in American political history. I mean, maybe there was somebody in the mid-1800s that I don't remember, but this is someone who the press really actually doesn't like. They just dislike Trump more. They're all getting on record as saying that the foundation stuff and the email stuff is actually a bad thing. And, people forget that when Bill Clinton got into office in 1992 with just a plurality of the vote, by the way, just 43%, it was the New York Times that led the assault on Whitewater. And I think this story of influence peddling and access selling and all of that is exactly the kind of thing that the goody two-shoes types and a lot of the mainstream media has to cover. And so I could see Hillary getting elected. I still think Hillary is going to get elected, but I think she gets elected with incredible problems and is going to have no sort of, beyond the initial, yay, there's a woman president nonsense that we'll get for about 5 minutes, she's going to have, this stuff is going to dog her through the election and also, I think, into an administration if she's elected.
What is the responsibility of Barack Obama in all this? It's as if, yes, clearly the Clintons are corrupt. They're liars, beneath contempt, and so forth. I agree. But President Obama brought this viper close to him so that she wouldn't bite his ankles if she wasn't on his team. What does he bear here?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. I mean, she was brought in on the old Lyndon Johnson principle that it's better to have someone inside the tent pissing out than somebody outside the tent pissing in. If this were a normal time and if Barack Obama did not have the huge amounts of his legacy invested in getting her elected, this would be under normal circumstances, all of this would have been from a long time ago a huge scandal for the Obama administration. The Obama administration, had a Secretary of State who broke all of these rules. This administration has put people in jail and prosecuted people.
Right. So why isn't he being held to account?
I think in part because it's an election year, because the Clintons are seen as this separate thing from Obama. I think because Obama just doesn't care. I mean, the idea that somehow, maybe personally he's really angry at Hillary for being such a mess. But again, this is a guy raised in Chicago politics. The idea that somehow he's personally offended by corruption. Obama gets offended by inconvenience, not by corruption. So I think I agree with you that this should be a much bigger deal in the press. But it's not like it's shocking that the press has selective standards when it comes to how they treat scandals.
They hate Trump, and so they'll give. And they've always given Obama a break since he pulled the sword from the stone of City Hall years ago, right? And
no, exactly. Yeah.
So let me ask you something else too about kind of the poet laureate of the blue collar man in America, Mike Rowe. He wrote on Facebook something that was kind of interesting, just sticking with the D.C. press corps. The media didn't care about the lack of college among black men supporting Obama. So why do they care so much about the lack of college among white men supporting Trump? When exactly did a lack of college become synonymous with a lack of education, which is kind of a separate question. But what about that? The hypocrisy of the media that Mike Rowe points out, with the uneducated white men being the sole constituency of Donald Trump, were you to just believe what you read in Eastern Seaboard outlets?
Yeah, no, look, I think it's a totally fair point. There's actually this new data out that shows that the single best predictor of support for Trump has to do with population density. The more rural the area you live in, the more likely it is that you support Donald Trump. The more dense the area you live in, i.e. cities, the more likely you're to vote for Hillary Clinton. So Hillary has a 20-something point lead among city folk, and Donald Trump has a 20-point lead among country folk. And I think that is a bigger divide than anything else. But I agree with you. Look, I mean, one of my favorite sayings is that behind every double standard is a single unconfessed standard. And the single standard that explains the vast majority of sort of double standards in liberal media and liberal argumentation is that liberals just think they're always right. And what is good for them and what advances their cause is fine, and what is bad for them and inconvenient to their cause is bad. And so white men have been the piñata for Democrats, since, for a very long time, but particularly since the Oklahoma City bombing, where Bill Clinton decided to sort of turn up the rhetorical heat on young white men. And that's been part of their talking points forever, and you don't get to say bad things about young black men because of the way political correctness works.
He is Jonah Goldberg, senior editor at National Review, nationalreview.com. Jonah, when's the next book coming out?
Later in 2017, after the election.
All right, we'll look forward to it. Jonah, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today in weather, a few strong thunderstorms, bringing flooding and damaging winds, high of 82. Tonight, mostly cloudy and humid as I'm at the Fire game in Toyota Park against the LA Galaxy. Shower thunderstorms around. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy and humid, more showers and thunderstorms. Now, for the traffic, Jim Telemonte.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Dan. Of course, you'll have traffic on Harlem Avenue before and after the game. Also, there's a concert at Northerly Island tonight, so that'll be a factor. Right now, the rain is becoming an issue in the western suburbs, especially the Aurora area. It's slow on the Reagan Tollway from the Fox River to 59. The Edens is 22 minutes, like Cook to Montrose, outbound 27. The Kennedy now 48 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 57. The Eisenhower 50 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 48. Stevenson 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound just 36. Ryan is 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State northbound stop and go 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis. The Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue Curve. Veterans Memorial from Boughton to the Reagan Tollway. Finley to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CertaPro.com today.
Barack Obama and Al Gore claimed the debate over global warming is over. The Heartland Institute will prove they are wrong. Attend a special free event to mark the 10th anniversary of Al Gore's Oscar-winning movie, An Inconvenient Truth. Heartland Institute's science director, Jay Lair, will expose the flaws in Gore's movie. One of the few scientists with the courage to engage in debate about the human impact on climate will present the other side. Factually, every passing day sets a new record for a major hurricane failing to hit the U.S. And what explains the pause in rising temperatures for most of the last 2 decades? There's a lot about climate that scientists are still trying to figure out. So challenge your thinking and discover for yourself by going to heartland.org for info and to register for this free global warming debate on Wednesday, August 31st. That's heartland.org.
Don't miss this free, informative, and eye-opening global warming debate on Wednesday, August 31st. Seating is limited, so hurry and reserve your spot now. Log on to heartland.org. That's heartland.org.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
About 6 years ago, I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store without having to stop and rest. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down, my blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
When you hear the word chiller, the first thing that pops into your mind may be a frozen drink from your favorite convenience store. If you run a business or you're a maintenance engineer, you know of a different kind of chiller, the mechanical one that keeps you, your employees, and customers cool in the summer. And with this summer predicted to be hotter than normal, you don't want to get stuck on one of those 90-plus degree days with no AC. Better call Air Comfort and get your chiller tuned up and running at peak performance. A professional inspection can find small problems before they become big problems, and proper maintenance can keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your AC is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
Hey, you've heard how Automated Systems excels at assisting companies with systems integration and FDA compliance. But they're also a staffing leader. They supply handpicked elite leadership, subject matter experts, and proven technical professionals in engineering, quality control, and FDA compliance to support the life sciences field in executing mission-critical projects. ASI provides highly specialized pros to deliver projects on time and budget. Don't pay a lot more to a big consulting firm, and don't trust the big temp agencies to supply the talent you need. Call Laz, my friend Laz at Automated Systems, when failure isn't an option. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life sciences companies, from big pharma to startups, and excel through a culture of excellence in execution. For a staffing, compliance, or automation evaluation, call Laz now at Automated Systems at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or AutomatedSYS.com.
There are so many families in the Chicagoland area that cannot afford regular dental care. We take for granted our regular routine cleanings, but for many children and families, it's an added expense that's not in the budget. Yet oral health care impacts self-esteem and the ability to work, which is why the Chicago Dental Society Foundation Clinic is committed to improving the oral health in our communities. I'm Lauren Feldner, speaking to you on behalf of the caring dentists of the Chicago Dental Society, who have addressed this issue by providing free basic dental services at the Chicago Dental Society Foundation Clinic, which is located in DuPage County. At this clinic, we treat and educate patients and their families for free. We help them experience good oral health care. Our clinic is staffed with all volunteer dentists who depend on the generous support of donors to provide these services to Cook, Lake, and DuPage counties. Please help keep our free dental clinic open. Donations can be made at cdsfound.org. That's cdsfound.org. On behalf of the dentists of the Chicago Dental Society, thank you for your support.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, and in for Amy this morning, John Cash, Chicago Tribune columnist extraordinaire. Coming up at 7:37, we're joined by Trump economic advisor and chief economist at the Heritage Foundation, Steve Moore. But now let's check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Dan and John, good morning. 71 degrees and more than 36 are dead. About 150 missing after a major earthquake spread devastation across central Italy. Authorities also say a powerful earthquake has struck central Myanmar, making tall buildings sway as far away as India and Bangkok, Thailand. Turkey has sent tanks and special forces into Syria. try and help clear a border town of ISIS. Syrian opposition fighters are also part of today's cross-border incursion. Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, Robbie Mook, on the defensive this morning over her ties to the Clinton Foundation. Mook says the foundation did nothing wrong in the eyes of the government while Clinton was Secretary of State.
Well, at every juncture, the foundation set up the highest possible standards to prevent any conflict of interest, and the State Department itself has said that there was no conflict of interest.
However, ABC News says the Clinton Foundation donors requested and many times were given access to the State Department during Clinton's tenure there. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump blasting the president for showing up to flood-ravaged Louisiana too late.
I mean, look, he could have left his golf game. He could have even played early. You know, he could have, played early and gone in the afternoon. I expected that would happen. And for him to say, I want to finish my whole vacation, who gets it?
Trump tells Fox News that Obama should have put aside that golf game and visited people in Louisiana sooner. Graduate students working at private universities can now unionize. That's due to a ruling from the U.S. Labor Board, who says those students are covered by federal labor law. The ruling applies only to private colleges, but will give grad students at public colleges rights depending on that state's labor law. A search continues to try to find a vehicle stolen from a Sycamore home where two were killed, a mother and son. Police say they're still looking for the white Chevy Impala of Patricia and Robert Wilson. High-profile Chicago activist accused of assaulting police officers during a protest doesn't like the judge assigned to his case. The attorney for Jamal Green moved to replace Judge Maura Boyle, a former Cook County prosecutor. That is a move Green is permitted once without having to specify a reason. Good news for late summer travelers. Security wait times at O'Hare now average less than 10 minutes. 3 months after 2-hour waits cause passengers to miss flights and make national headlines. White Sox over Philadelphia 9-1. Cubs sink San Diego 5-3. The news a service of 7-Eleven. Chill out this summer at 7-Eleven. When you get an ice cold Big Gulp, you'll get a free one-day Redbox movie rental. This refreshing deal won't last long, and it's only at 7-Eleven while supplies last. Subject to additional terms. Charges apply for additional nights. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher points out the many differences between Trump and Hillary.
Make no mistake about it. Hillary Clinton wants to punish people who have had financial success. Donald Trump does not. Trump wants to make the business community have more breathing room, have less onerous regulations and taxes. Hillary Clinton does not. But of course, people are all caught up in what the latest bombastic thing Donald Trump said and getting on that whole bandwagon.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Remodel your kitchen with Galaxy. Buy one cabinet and get one free with free financing and design services. Call 773-783-8300.
If you're serious about selling your home, now's the time. Supply is low, and it's a great seller's market in many Chicagoland neighborhoods. Now, I've done the research, and along with my Salem radio colleagues, Dennis Prager and Michael Medved, we all recommend that you call Saul. Saul Z and the Z team are so good that if they don't sell your home in 59 days, they'll sell it for free, guaranteed. Saul is ranked 106th out of 1.2 million agents by the Wall Street Journal. His proven marketing system is so effective that he sells on average a home every single day, attracting multiple full-price offers. Now, that demand helps sell your home fast at the highest price. It's a no-brainer. If I was selling a home in Chicagoland, I'd definitely call Saul. 888-346-0666 or call Saul, SAUL.net. Call Saul.net or 888-346-0666. You'd better call Saul.
7:36 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Mike. It's really heavy now on the inbound Kennedy with delays starting at Sayre, 58 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 35 from Montrose, 27 on the Express, and outbound 54 minutes to the airport. The Edens is 21 minutes, Slate Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Eisenhower, 52 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 53. Stevenson, 52 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 35. Ryan, 27 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, heavy from 21 to Will Plain. Northbound stop and go 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Traffic is a service of Aruba Tourism. Up for a little adventure in paradise? Just head down to Aruba. Go beyond the beautiful beaches and explore Aruba's dramatic coastlines, ancient caves, and hidden gems. Hop a nonstop flight from O'Hare to One Happy Island. Plan your shortcut to happiness today at Aruba.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Strong thunderstorms crossing the area throughout the day. Some will bring heavy rain and damaging winds. We'll hit a high of 82. We'll have a low of 70 overnight with more showers and thunderstorms and very humid conditions. 71 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next, with Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass joining us this morning on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
See Alan West and Michelle Malkin at Freedom Summit Chicago 2016. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass.
Hey, Denny.
He would be a Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist, but
I'm not good enough, and I'm an uneducated white man.
You are an uneducated white man.
And I'm not good enough.
You're good enough.
Oh, no.
You're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. But the problem is you're not liberal. That's the real problem. Why you
think
don't
so?
have a Pulitzer. That's probably you. You're not getting the hard work because you're not liberal.
Put some crackers on that. That'd be good.
But you are a great heir apparent to Mike Royko. There's no question about it.
Thank you so much.
And so, John, you understand these complicated things that few of us.
When you start talking to me as if you think I'm smart, I figure something's going to come out of it, and it's worrying.
Well, you're street smart.
Talk plain, son.
You're Mean Street
smart.
smart.
Like the Texas Rangers in Hell and High Water. Talk plain.
You're Mean Street smart. You get what's happening. This is confusing to me because, of course, I take whatever a State Department spokesman or somebody like a former President of the United States or a former Secretary of State, I take these serious people seriously. And when they say they didn't do anything wrong, then I assume that they didn't do anything wrong because, I live in Chicago, so I suffer from Stockholm Syndrome. But apparently there is a problem with Hillary Clinton and her private meetings while she was Secretary of State. Half of those meetings were with Clinton Foundation donors that generated $156 million in cash for the Clinton Foundations, and that doesn't even include the speaking fees. And Charles Krauthammer sees this as problematic. He's smarter than I am. He doesn't live in Chicago, so that's helpful. He's not sure if there's illegality, but he's open to the idea. But there's another problem.
Look, everybody here is wrong. So much error, so little time. That statement is meaningless. Who cares if there were 17 other conversations or even meetings? What matters is, were there any that were as a result of giving money to the Clintons? The answer is yes, and that is in itself damning. It may not be illegal, but it's damning.
Is it damning?
It's damning, and it offers Trump something that he hasn't really taken advantage of, and I hope his ally and Stephen Moore will discuss this. What Trump can do now is say, hey, revert to what his earlier argument that basically got him votes, which is, I know this system is corrupt. I've paid these people off. I write a check to the Clintons. They show up at my wedding. I know what this is all about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And enter it that way. Because that way it puts him on the outside, but it also acknowledges the obvious.
Well, the other thing it does is it makes this referendum on Hillary Clinton, this entire election, which is where it needs to be. And this is a real opportunity because of this Associated Press story and investigative story that was done that I just referenced. And the best that the Clinton campaign can muster with all of the deep thinkers over there is, well, that's a small portion of her meetings with more than 1,700 people during her term. So they're trying to make this a percentage play rather than the underlying substance of the selling of and leveraging of the Secretary of State's office.
Madam, we've established what you are. Now we're just talking about the price.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, nobody pulls
Is that
Churchill.
Shavian?
Nobody pulls
Is that Shavian originally or Churchill? Who knows?
I'm going to give a credit to Churchill on that, because I have deferred to Churchill. But for more on this topic and many others, we're now joined by our friend, the aforesaid Stephen Moore, Chief Economist at the Heritage Foundation, Trump Campaign Economic Policy Advisor. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Now, look, are you trying to infer and imply that Hillary Clinton is unethical?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No.
You know? I mean, look, this has been a pattern now for so many years, and it just goes on and on with the Clintons. And as Charles Krauthammer just said, it probably isn't even illegal. You know, it probably isn't illegal what she did. But who uses a charitable foundation to enrich themselves and to promote their political goals? I mean, it's not illegal probably, but it's the sleaziest thing I've ever seen.
Well,
and you know, the fact is,
what's not illegal about it?
We don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know.
She's taking. Listen, she's taking my government.
It might not be illegal. It might, because look, the whole history of the Clintons is they straddle the line, right, on everything. It's always going right up to the line, and you're not sure. You need a microscope to see whether they went over the ethical, legal line or not. And my point is just this has been a pattern. Aren't we sick of this? We've seen this for 25 years. It dates back to Hillary's cattle future trading when she turned $1,000 into $100,000. I mean, it just goes on and on. The other thing people forget about the Clinton Foundation, one of the things I find really despicable, is that remember the earthquake in Haiti, and how much money did the Clinton Foundation raise? Tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for the victims of the earthquake. And you talk to officials in Haiti, and they say, we don't know whatever happened to any of that money. I mean, it's the most humble people. You know, these officials say, well, you know, we saw some of it, but we certainly didn't see the tens of millions of dollars that was raised. It was a scam.
Maybe it's in the same place with the White House silverware after they left the first time. But
exactly.
The question for you, I'd like to ask you a question. I'd like to ask you a question. That is, can Trump? You know, early on in his campaign in the primary, he talked about how he understands these corrupt weasels because he bought them and paid them off, and he understands how to do it. Is that a way to turn up the heat on her, to use that type of argument to get into this?
You know, Donald Trump was on the other side of this, so he was one of the people who had to, you know, pay money to things like the Clinton Foundation to get. Look, what Donald Trump was doing was trying to build buildings in places like New York City. It's the same thing in Chicago. How do you get that done? Unfortunately, you have to pay off people, right? I mean, that's the Chicago way. That's, unfortunately, the New York way. It's what's putrid about politics. And what Trump is saying is, look, I'm going to clean this up, because if I hadn't paid this money out in these graft payments, I wouldn't have been able to build Trump towers all over the place. It's not excusable. It's what people hate about politics in Washington. It's what makes the politicians rich, and everybody else has had flat incomes, but in Washington, D.C., our incomes are going up, because you guys keep sending us money. And I think that's the reason people kind of want an outsider, somebody who has not enriched themselves for politics. I mean, Hillary and Bill Clinton now have a net worth estimated in the hundreds of millions of dollars. What have they ever done?
They give great speeches. They give great speeches. Here, let me ask you another question, just pivoting to Trump and some statements he has made recently.
You mean, are you talking about the new Trump?
The new Trump, yes, the new Trump, the Trump of the last 2 weeks, and one of the new and improved, arguably, aspects of what Trump is saying is a softening on immigration, saying to Sean Hannity in an interview, there certainly can be a softening because we're not looking to hurt people. We want people. We have some great people in this country, but we're going to follow the laws of this country. Explain this kind of change in tone, at least, if not substance, on immigration.
Well, you know, it's still ambiguous, right? And I have to say, I have not talked to Donald Trump about this specifically, so I'm just surmising here. But look, I've been in politics for a long time. And by the way, I'm very pro-immigration. I think immigration is important to the country, and I think immigrants, on balance, are a great net plus for us. However, it is true that Americans are very angry about the fact that for 25 years we've done nothing about illegal immigration. I'm for legal immigration, not illegal immigration. And I'll tell you this, the word that is toxic with with Mexicans and Hispanics is the word deportation. You know, it's just you don't go there because it's just a turnoff. And Hispanics should be voting for Trump. I mean, Trump is the candidate of economic opportunity and economic development and jobs. And so I think what he's saying here, Dan, I think he's saying, look, we're not going to deport people who've been here. We are going to deport criminal aliens. We're going to, deport the potential terrorists, and we're going to deport the drug dealers and so on. But look, if you've been here for a number of years and you've been paying your taxes and you've been contributing to our society, I think he's saying, this idea of mass deportation is off the table. At least I hope that's what he's saying, because I think deportation is a bad idea. But we do have to get rid of the criminal elements and the people who would do danger to us.
Let me ask you another question on the topic of economics, since this is your forte and you're advising the Trump campaign. He released his first campaign ad this week, and it really focuses on national security and doing some of the things that you're describing, at least talking about doing those things. I wonder if we're going to see an impassioned defense of entrepreneurial capitalism from him at some point, where the contrast of government of Hillary Clinton's government-directed vision for our economy versus Trump really making a moral case for business. Business is a social service provider. Business as somebody that as an entity, or entrepreneurial capitalism as a system that actually does the most amount of good for those in the middle and lower. Are we going to see some kind of messaging along those lines?
Boy, Dad, you're sounding like a dirty capitalist today.
I am a dirty capitalist.
Of course, that all our wealth in our country, I mean, this is an obvious point, but especially the millennials, they don't get it. Where is all our wealth, all our riches, all our income coming from? Hillary thinks it's from government. Remember when she said businesses don't create jobs? Remember that one? Yeah. If I were running the ad campaign for Trump, I would run an ad with her just saying that over and over again. Businesses don't create jobs. Hillary, do you really believe government is where jobs come from? I mean, that's such an ignorant statement that shows she has no understanding of how the economy works. She's very vulnerable on that. So I like your idea. I'm going to run it up the flagpole. I don't know if he's going to make the moral case for capitalism and free markets, but I think he should make just the practical case that it's the small businesses of this country that are the spinal cord. Without small businesses, we don't have jobs. My old boss, Dick Armey, used to say, without liberals love jobs, but they hate employers. But you can't have one without the other. That's, I think, the message. And this is really, truly, when it comes to the economy, a total study in contrast. I mean, Hillary really does believe we can borrow and spend another $1 trillion at the federal level and spend it on all these infrastructure projects and public works projects, and that's going to get the economy going. I mean, if you believe that, vote for her. But what Trump is saying, no, we're going to cut the taxes on the employers, the businesses, and whether it's a small business or a big business, to get them to hire more workers and build more factories and plants, and we can do that. And so it is a contrast election. But free market capitalism, as my old buddy Larry Kudlow always says, is the best path to prosperity.
I like that commercial idea, too, about her, you didn't build that moment. Businesses don't create jobs. I'll tell you what, let's get together. Let's script it. I'll have it shot. Then we'll make the 15% placement fee when they put it on the air. How about that?
We're not doing that. I guarantee you. We're not paying, in the Trump campaign, we're not paying 15%.
Good.
That's one of the biggest robberies there is.
No question.
I don't even think, quite frankly, I don't think any of these political ads in the presidential election have that big of an impact, because the truth is, people see these candidates, Hillary and Trump, every single night on TV. They can make their own decisions about this. But I like our idea. We're going to run this.
It's a good reminder of what she said.
Yeah, you're
no
going
question.
to raise the $50 million.
Okay. All right. Steve Moore, Chief Economist of the Heritage Foundation, Trump Campaign Economic Policy Advisor. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
We're going to win, guys. We're going to win.
All right. Then optimistic Steve Moore, who joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
Oh, yeah. Weather? Okay. Few strong thunderstorms today. Storms can bring flooding and damaging winds, so be careful out there. Tonight, mostly cloudy and humid. Another shower thunderstorm around low 70. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy and humid with shower thunderstorms, high of 82. And now for the traffic with my favorite traffic man, Jim Telemonte.
Well, thank you, John. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Got heavy delays now on the inbound Kennedy from Sayre all the way into downtown. It's an hour and 8 minutes from O'Hare to the Burn Circle, 55 minutes from Montrose, 35 on the Express. Now outbound, it's 52 minutes from downtown to O'Hare. Edens is 22 minutes, Lake Hook to the junction, outbound 35. The Eisenhower, 50 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 51. The Stevenson is 48 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 40. The Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to the Loop, clear outbound. Tri-State southbound slow, 21 to 60. Northbound stop and go, 95th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Adams Tollway, there's now a delay, 25 to Roselle. Veterans Memorial stop and go, Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Findlay to St. Charles, and North Avenue to 290. Southbound 53 slow Palatine to Euclid. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Hey there, this is Eric Metaxas. Lately, I've been telling you about Liberty University's online degree programs. Liberty University is the world's largest Christian university with over 95,000 students studying around the world through Liberty's online programs. While there are a lot of universities who've jumped into online education, few can deliver on the promise of a quality education with such flexibility, and even fewer can actually point to a graduate of their online program like my friend Morgan from Nashville.
I did it. I actually got my degree from Liberty University. 2 degrees, actually. Not only has this process taught me self-discipline, I've also learned that it is never too late to fulfill your dreams. And I did it all online. I did it, and you can too.
Call Liberty University now at 800-424-9595. That's 800-424-9595, 800-424-9595, or visit liberty.edu/online. Flexible, affordable, possible. Liberty University Online.
Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. What could be a watershed moment in Donald Trump's campaign was not his statement of contrition for his all-too-often juvenile ad hominem forays. Rather, it was his explicit appeal to black families in Milwaukee and across the country whose lives have been decimated by predatory big government policies that foster dependency. I'm asking for the vote of every African-American citizen struggling in our country today who wants a different future, said Trump. Red Rovering people over is the beginning. If you want people to come to your party, you have to invite them. And if you want people to stay, you have to frame the choice before them. Trump did exactly that, improperly referencing the bigoted policies of the left designed to create a would-be ruled beholden to would-be rulers. Trump argued that the purposeful deprivation of the Great Society is directly responsible for the need to make America great again. Hillary and her comrades know that the most assured way to turn someone into a reliable Democrat voter is to make them a de facto ward of the state. Thus, the choice in our urban centers: live an independent life or exist as a subservient Democrat.
We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan, and in for Amy is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass. And John, this is an instructive story. Congressman Benny Thompson, he's a Democrat from Mississippi. He is the ranking Democrat on the House Homeland Security Committee. And his chief of staff is going to prison because Isaac Lanier Avant, who serves as Thompson's chief of staff, was charged with 5 misdemeanor counts for failing to file income tax returns for each of the 5 years. He earned $170,000 as chief of staff to Congressman Thompson, ending in 2013. And wait for the explanation. Mr. Avant suggested that he didn't pay taxes because he was exempt from federal income taxes as a congressional staffer.
Well, he could, just like Harold Washington, he didn't pay.
He was also exempted by the media, I believe, as well.
And then, but did serve some few days in the pokey.
Well, that's right. And, of course, Mr. Vaughn is not being fired from Mr. Thompson until he has his day in court.
He thought he was exempt because he's that is so right. Aren't they exempt from, aren't the elites? You know what? I take out my hand, I extend it to the microphone, and I say, nah.
Well, but
because that's a mutza, right?
But you can understand where you have the ruling class Pauls, why the chief of staff to Congressman Thompson would think he was exempt from the laws that they impose on the rest of us. So it's not that surprising.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
Over the last 30 years, more than 1 billion people around the world lifted themselves out of poverty. That means more and more people were able to afford their first washing machine, access clean water, or send their kids to school. What is responsible for this tremendous increase in wealth and quality of life? Freedom and capitalism. When people are free to make their own decisions, to choose their own path in life, when each individual's life belongs to himself, not to the state or to the collective or a dictator, people innovate, create, and succeed. And as a direct result, their standard of living increases. That's the indispensable value of capitalism. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Ron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brooks Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ariradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Here's microbiologist Dr. Kim O'Neill talking about balance of nature.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. I don't take any supplementation, but I take Balance of Nature because I know, I've seen it in my lab, and I know that it works. I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. And that, to me, as a scientist, rings so true, and it's only natural.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code CHICAGO.
Here are the stories we're watching right now in the newsroom. A vigil held for victims of a deadly Chicago fire and new developments in that case this morning. A jogger killed by a vehicle in Chicago. Cubs hold off the Padres. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
This is a Fox News Alert. I'm Lisa Brady. Search dogs helping rescuers. In central Italy, where a trio of small towns have widespread damage from an earthquake that struck as people were sleeping.
Among those confirmed to have died is a family of 4 found in the rubble of their house. Measuring 6.2, the quake happened at 3:30 in the morning. It is the most powerful since 2009, when a magnitude 6.3 quake hit the city of L'Aquila, not far from here.
That one killed hundreds, at least 38 deaths confirmed in today's quake, but reports now of more than 60. The Pentagon says it was a local decision to use Hillary Clinton's picture in training on insider threats to classified information. Fox Radio's John Decker, live at the White House.
A U.S. Army spokesman confirms to Fox News that a soldier used a photo of Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton in an official training slide over a year ago about proper handling of classified information. Clinton's photo is listed alongside Fort Hood shooter Nidal Hassan, Bradley Manning, Edward Snowden, and General David Petraeus. The slide was used locally as part of a training presentation on best practices for handling classified material and maintaining operational security. The Army says the training presentation has since been removed. Lisa?
Thanks, John. Turkey sending tanks and special forces into Syria. leading an effort by Syrian rebel fighters to retake a town from ISIS. The offensive launched just hours before Vice President Joe Biden arrived in Ankara for meetings on ISIS and security. But there are ongoing tensions over U.S. support for Syrian Kurdish fighters and a recent failed coup that Turkey blames on a cleric living in exile in the U.S. A taxi jumps a curb on a busy street corner in downtown San Francisco. The cab driver and 2 others critically injured yesterday. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Skies are cloudy, light rain beginning to cross the area. We expect thunderstorms throughout the day. It's 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Police are questioning a possible suspect this morning in an apartment building fire that killed 3 children and an adult male. Police spokesman telling us investigators have been questioning the person since yesterday. No charges have been announced. Police say preliminary investigation indicates someone deliberately set fire to the building early Tuesday after a domestic dispute. A search continues to try and find a vehicle stolen from the Sycamore home where a mother and son were murdered earlier this month. Police say it does appear someone broke into Patricia and Robert Wilson's home, and now they continue to search for the mother's white Chevy Impala. There's now an $11,000 reward in that case. 2 advocacy groups are criticizing the Chicago Public Schools' newly proposed budget. Civic Federation and Access Living say the budget they cannot support the $5.4 billion spending plan because it relies on state funding that may not come in a large amount of borrowing. The Chicago Board of Education is expected to vote on that budget later today. Governor Bruce Rauner has signed legislation to try and curb gun violence in the city of Chicago and elsewhere by punishing those convicted of firearm trafficking with long prison sentences. The bill the Republican governor signed yesterday will impose a sentence of up to 20 years for a first offense. White Sox over Philadelphia 9-1. Cubs beat San Diego 5-3. The news, a service of Accountemps with summer vacation plans quickly approaching. Do you find your accounting team short-staffed? At Accountemps, they offer professional temporary accounting and finance support when your employees head out for the break. Call today or visit Accountemps.com. Accountemps is a Robert Half company. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro, here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Pfizer is adding some antibiotic medications to its list. Pfizer's buying part of AstraZeneca's antibiotics business. It will pay more than $1.5 billion plus royalties for 3 approved drugs and 2 still in the research stage. There are fewer visitors to Paris this summer following the terror attacks in France. The New York Times says the regional tourism office is reporting a drop in hotel spending, though more people are staying in private apartments. France's foreign minister has called a meeting for September to address the issue. Tourism represents about 7% of the French economy. Would you stop shopping from a retailer that was the victim of a cyber attack? KPMG polled nearly 500 people, found 1/3 saying they will avoid a retail chain for at least 3 months after it was hacked. The Dow was up 17 points yesterday, NASDAQ up 15, S&P gained 4. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
It's 8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's back. The biggest conservative event in the Midwest returns this October. It's Freedom Summit Chicago 2016, October 29th in Itasca, featuring Alan West, Michelle Malkin, Mike Gallagher, Stephen Moore, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Joe Walsh, and many more. Tickets start at just $29. Order your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Automated Systems Incorporated, Saul Z, and the Z Team, and by Best Dental Group.
Thousands of people are choosing the flexibility of working when they want, driving with Uber. You'll control your day, plus be able to start earning right away just by driving your own car.
I've got 2 kids. They're both in summer camp, and I'll drop them off. Then I turn on the Uber app, the ride requests come in, and I'm earning extra money. Working when I want, being my own boss. Driving with Uber is definitely the best option for me.
Earn the extra money you need on your schedule. Get started today. Sign up right now. Go to uber.com/drive now. uber.com/drive now.
It's National Make a Will Month at LegalZoom.com, so it's time to take care of your will or trust. LegalZoom makes it easy. They're not a law firm, so there's no office visits or paying expensive hourly rates. Instead, you could save over $100 with LegalZoom's will or trust estate plan bundles. And if you don't know whether a will or trust is right for you, don't worry. You'll work with an independent attorney available in 48 states to get advice on what you need. Do the right thing this month at LegalZoom.com. LegalZoom.com.
It's 8:06 in our Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Let's get the very latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is jammed. Bryn Mawr to Belmont with a crash in the two left lanes. And it's slow 18th to the Stevenson, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Rain is slowing things on the Kennedy. It's an hour and 5 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 43 minutes from Montrose, 35 in the Express. Outbound 30 minutes to Montrose, but an hour 15 to the airport. Eden's 22 minutes Lake Hook to the junction, outbound 50. The Eisenhower, 52 minutes Thorndale to downtown, outbound it's an hour and 10 minutes. The Stevenson, 52 minutes 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 45. Ryan, 25 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 21 to 60. Northbound, 95th to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton most of the way to St. Charles and North Avenue to 290. I-80 has westbound delays starting at 355. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here is our meteorologist, Ashley Benoit.
A couple of strong thunderstorms around today, otherwise mostly cloudy, breezy, and humid. The storms can bring flash flooding and damaging winds. High today, 83. Mostly cloudy and humid for tonight with a shower thunderstorm around, low 71. I'm Ashley Benoit on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently, we have 71 at O'Hare, 72 along the lakefront, and light rain and thunderstorms crossing the area. Next news coming up at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
This is not a one-off. This is not a photo op issue.
This story relies on utterly flawed data. It's cherry-picked, a limited subset of Secretary Clinton's schedule to give a distorted portrayal of how often she crossed paths with individuals connected to charitable donations to the Clinton Foundation.
What matters is, were there any that were as a result of giving money to the Clintons? The answer is yes, and that is in itself damning. It may not be illegal, but it's damning.
All lives do matter. But when it comes to whites, guess what? We're not being shot at the rate of 6 times blacks are being shot at.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass, who brought me vegetables.
I brought you heirloom tomatoes from my garden and a cucumber.
It's fantastic. I don't know what to do with them, but
It's up to your imagination, but I would rather you use olive oil, oregano, salt, pepper.
I'll have to find somebody who can do those things you describe with these items that you provided. I don't
too much with that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Metaphor.
There's been nothing more enjoyable over the last several months. Well, two things. One is that you have Judicial Watch filling the void left by the Department of Justice and the Fourth Estate.
Of course.
And two is some reporters actually picking up on the scent that Judicial Watch has laid down through their Freedom of Information requests and civil litigation, and asking difficult questions of State Department flacks pertaining to Hillary's tenure as the Secretary of State that tie them in knots. It happened again, and perhaps the best guy over in the press pool at the State Department is Associated Press reporter Matt Lee, and he queried Mark Toner, one of these fungible State Department spokespersons, about some of the recent emails that were unearthed, thanks again to Judicial Watch, that detail how Clinton aides like Uma, Mrs. Carlos Danger, and Doug Band and others essentially provided the support staff for the Clinton Foundation to aid Hillary Clinton in leveraging the State Department to generate, as we find out from the Associated Press today, $156 million in donations to the Clinton Foundation.
You're a lawyer. Put a RICO on this.
Well, I think there are other people have suggested, including a former U.S. attorney named Rudy Giuliani, that this sets up for a great RICO case. But unfortunately, Judicial Watch doesn't have law enforcement power. Mark Toner and Matt Lee talking about those emails. Listen to the State Department spokesman try and weasel out of this one with his mealy-mouthed response.
One of your colleagues said that that the State Department was sure that there was no impropriety involved in any of the contacts between this building and the foundation. Is that still the case?
That is still our belief, yes.
So
there was no impropriety, that this was simply, evidence of the way the process works, and in that, any Secretary of State has aides who are getting emails or contacts by a broad range of individuals and organizations.
Yeah, that's it. So this wasn't aides flacking for Hillary and the Clinton Foundation to enrich both. This was people receiving emails from other people and assisting the Secretary of State with people.
People helping people?
That's it.
Weren't these
people who help
flacks,
people are the best people there are.
Weren't these Clinton flacks also working for the government, our government, while they were working for the Clinton Foundation?
Yeah, helping people. Working for the people.
Okay, that in and of itself.
Introducing people to other people.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
What is there to see here?
Forget about it.
Maybe we're taking too generous a view on what Mark Toner had to say. For more on this, we're joined by the aforementioned Shadow Attorney General, Larry Clayman, who's the founder of Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch. Larry, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, guys.
So Mark Toner said no impropriety. It was processes that the evidence suggests was just people talking to people. What's the big deal?
Well, there's always an excuse when it comes to the Clintons. A very important fact that's overlooked, and even the Trump campaign isn't getting into this, much less the media, is that this is nothing new for the Clintons. Back in the 1990s, when I helped uncover the Chinagate scandal, they were taking money from the Communist Chinese, donations to the Democratic National Committee, and also to themselves, the re-election campaigns, and bestowing favors to the Chinese, including giving them classified information about our relations with Taiwan. Talk about RICO. I did file a RICO case at Freedom Watch. You can find it at freedomwatchusa.org. It was assigned to a Clinton judge in Palm Beach, a federal court in Palm Beach, and he dismissed it. It's up on appeal right now. But everybody runs interference for the Clintons. It doesn't matter whether it's State Department aides or Clinton-appointed judges or Obama-appointed judges. This information's coming out. Even the FBI director, as we know, has taken a dive, Comey, and everybody thought that he was an honest guy. So they feel that they're above the law and they can do whatever they want. And all these documents that are coming out hopefully are going to have an impact and force some action. But really, the only case that's out there right now, guys, I know I'm diverting a little bit.
No.
I brought a lawsuit a few weeks ago for the parents of Sean Smith and Ty Woods, two people who, brave heroes who died at Benghazi. Wrongful death against Hillary Clinton, defamation. She has no immunity. She's exposed on this. And perhaps that'll get through because it's in front of a very good judge. But these people go off with impunity doing these things. And, in fact, it's not pay for play. It's called bribery. That's what it is. It's plain and simple bribery. And Rudy Giuliani's absolutely right.
So what is
the government? Yeah.
What is the danger long-term for the republic if the country elects someone who is basically considered to be not only a racketeer, historically, a liar, clearly, and above the law in the minds of most people, and I'd say, clearly above the law. When someone like that is put in as chief executive, what is what holds for the republic?
That's a great question. Let me say this as a head of a public interest group. I don't endorse any candidate or tell people who to vote for. But let me just talk objectively here. is that if you have someone like Hillary Clinton as president following someone like Obama, okay, she's going to be elected apparently right now with a landslide. You're going to have a Democratic Congress, both House and Senate. This country will turn heavily socialist, and even more important than that is the fact that the people will lose faith in this country totally. They've almost lost it now, and we'll be in a revolutionary state. People will be fighting against others in the street. We already have a race war that Obama stoked. We're going to have a war between men against women stoked by Hillary Clinton, and then we're going to have a complete breakdown of authority because of the fact that the people will no longer believe their president, and they'll probably take to the streets. This country will come unglued even more than it is right now.
Well, if just going back to the Clinton Foundation and the work that you're doing and unearthing these emails and putting the pieces together, as it were, do you think that there's been a kind of a slow reaction? The Associated Press, did this investigative story, which is very good, that we just referenced and we've discussed today. I'm sure you saw. But do you think that the reaction has been a bit slow from law enforcement, from media? Because as we see from the Clinton Foundation donor list, you've got a lot of media partners with the Clinton Foundation. You have a lot of donors, big media personalities and executives, as well as media operations that essentially have been in bed with the Clinton Foundation.
Well, it's across the board. I mean, notwithstanding the media, okay, which is heavily biased, notwithstanding our Justice Department, if you want to call it ours, because it's not. It's the Obama Justice Department and it's the FBI, and they're frankly in the hip pocket of Hillary Clinton and Obama, is the fact that you have the Republican establishment, which has done everything it can to stab Donald Trump in the back and destroy his candidacy, because they would rather see Hillary Clinton for 4 years. They'll get to keep the money train in Washington. It's like the National League and the American League. They're part of the entire big league there, and they're dividing up the money. They're dividing up the spoils. They're dividing up the power. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. And they have destroyed any chance that Trump has to become president, and they've in effect endorsed Hillary Clinton. So, except for the people of this country, a certain percentage, a large percentage, the establishment in the media and the establishment in both political parties have assassinated Donald Trump, and it looks quite certain that we're probably going to have a Hillary Clinton as president.
Well, I mean, don't despair. I think we got a long way to go between now and November 8th, but during that period, we also, because of the judge that some of your litigation is before, has ordered that State Department is to conclude its review of the emails that are pending by September 22nd, and they should start releasing them by October 14th, so 3 weeks before the election, 3.5 weeks before the election. What do you expect from the emails that have not been released but will apparently be released before the election?
I would expect more of the same. And I would ask the question as to why the FBI has held off in having those produced to the State Department. There appears to be, and it's regrettable because I'm working with the FBI in other matters, and I had a very high regard for Director Comey, but either they're incompetent or they're in bed with the administration. Perhaps Comey is fearful that he'll never be appointed to another position. The Democrats will block it after his term ends at the FBI. But why so long? And the fact is as you raised, the press does not react to these things sufficiently, and it doesn't get to the American people who stay basically uneducated in terms of what's going on. So I don't mean to be a pessimist, but what I'm saying here is that all this information coming out with the Justice Department that is in the hip pocket of the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton, I don't see, as you pointed out earlier, anything other than Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch pushing forward. I was the founder of Freedom Watch.
What about the latest from House Republicans, Jason Chaffetz, the Oversight Committee, saying, essentially starting to get more aggressive? They're pursuing a perjury case against her. They're demanding the release of more emails. They're trying to, I think, build off the work that you've done to at least press a political advantage, if not a serious, if not, completely fulfilling their oversight responsibilities how you would if you were in their position.
You're right about the political advantage, and I'm being critical because I want to see the government act. I actually believe in the government. I was a Justice Department prosecutor, like Rudy Giuliani. But they don't act. I mean, what has Jason Chaffetz done in 8 years other than go on Fox News, and I love Fox News, okay? I'm glad you guys have him on. But, he hasn't done anything. They had Eric Holder, former Attorney General, dead to rights on Fast and Furious, committing perjury in front of Congress. Nothing happened. They have the IRS commissioner. They're trying to impeach him. Okay, why are they just impeaching him? They should be doing a whole lot more than that, pushing. Congress should enact legislation to give itself power to enforce lying in front of Congress, but they buck it over to the Justice Department to do the job. Now, an Obama Justice Department is as corrupt as Hillary Clinton. They're not going to do anything. And they never did anything under the Clinton administration under Attorney General Janet Reno. The people need to rise up. We need to do it for ourselves. I advocate peaceful, nonviolent revolution, a la Martin Luther King, Lech Walesa in Poland, elsewhere, because this government has broken away from the American people. And that's what we did in 1776. We're going to have to do it again.
All right.
I see that happening.
He is Larry Clayman, founder of Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch. Larry, thanks for joining us, and keep up the great work. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. People want to see our RICO case. It's at freedomwatchusa.org.
All right, freedomwatchusa.org. Thanks so much for Larry. Appreciate it. And Larry joined us on the turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
How about some weather, everybody? Today, a few strong thunderstorms. Storms can bring flooding and damaging winds. High of 82 tonight. Mostly cloudy and humid for the Toyota Park game. LA Galaxy versus the Fire. Shower thunderstorms around low 70.
What sport is that?
It's the Sport of Kings. And tomorrow, mostly cloudy, humid with a shower of thunderstorms, as I'm going to be watching my own son play college soccer. And I'm sure Jim Telemonte cares deeply about it.
That sounds great, John. Absolutely. So good luck to the Fire tonight, and, of course, to your son's team. And if you're trying to get to a game right now, you're probably sitting in traffic. Pretty slow, especially where the rain is a factor this morning. It's worse to the north. Kennedy, 58 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, 56. The Edens, 23 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, but outbound it's 50 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound an hour 15. Stevenson, 52 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 52 now. Ryan, 25 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State Tollway jammed northbound 87th to 75th. Crash in the two left lanes. Also slow Plainfield Road to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Southbound Tri-State slow 21 to 60. The other tollways are also heavy. I'm Jim Talamonte of the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
It's fall flooring season. Get incredible deals on the latest trends at Lumber Liquidators' Fall Flooring Kickoff Sale. We've got 100 new flooring styles, new colors, new textures, even new waterproof floors. Choose from over 60 varieties of North American and European laminate from 39 cents a square foot. Pre-finished hardwood from $129. Get $1 off Bellawood pre-finished hardwood. Save on the hottest styles in vinyl plank, bamboo, and more. Plus special financing. Visit lumberliquidators.com to find a store near you and get to the Fall Flooring Kickoff Sale today.
You always listen to AM 560 The Answer. You've heard all about Turnkey IT, Chicagoland's leading IT service provider for small business. Turnkey provides world-class support and customizable plans for businesses with 5 to 100 users. And with some of Turnkey IT's programs, you get all new equipment, free security, and antivirus protection. Sound great? Then why haven't you called Turnkey IT? There's really no excuse. Turnkey IT is setting you up with their best offer yet. Through the summer, all AM 560 listeners receive their first month of service for just $1. Your business will receive comprehensive coverage, including unlimited help desk and online support, network hosting, and antivirus protection its first contracted month for just $1. Ready to make the switch? It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro now. That's turnkey.pro. And tell them AM560 The Answer sent you. Get ready to focus on the important things of your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some urgent news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from PBS host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we're about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-422-3838 now to get your personalized copy rushed to you today. Do you want to avoid mistakes baby boomers and seniors can make when they buy annuities? Those mistakes now could be costly later to you and your family. Call 800-422-3838. That's 800-422-3838. Employees of J.D. Melberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and John Cass in for Amy this morning. A lot of reaction to our interview with Larry Clayman from Judicial Watch. Text from 708, Larry Clayman. Someone who's paying attention. God bless him. Let's go to Kurt in Park Ridge.
Hey, I was listening to him, he was kind of browbeating Comey, but, I don't blame Comey. He laid out the case for prosecuting Hillary. He knew they weren't going to prosecute her, and so why not just lay it out there? Because if he does recommend prosecution, he knows they're not, and then he has to resign.
Well,
so I think Comey did us a service. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to say any of this stuff.
Well, actually, it's his job. Thanks for the call, Kurt. It's his job, and he should have referred her for prosecution because, as you say, he made out the case for the prosecution. So then you complete it by saying, I'm referring her for charges to the Department of Justice, and then it's up to Attorney General Loretta Lynch to do whatever she's going to do. That's how you abide your responsibilities and your oath.
He could have outlined the criminal problems and then left it at that. Instead, he went overboard and talked about how she couldn't be prosecuted. That makes it a problem if the FBI goes back into this thing later.
Brian and Bartlett.
Yo.
Yep. Quickly, Brian.
Yes, I've been looking at the Constitution, and every political person that gets in the office takes an oath to uphold the laws of the land. And if you're using the laws for your own selfishness to become rich and skirting the law, you need to be arrested because that's not what you signed up for. That's not the oath you took.
Thanks for the call, Brian.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
I've been taking the Balance of Nature fruits and veggie capsules for many years. What hooked me was something I wasn't expecting. I was playing golf with one of my friends, and midway through the round, he looks over at me and says, "What's going on here? You're killing me. Did you get new clubs or something?" It dawned on me that the only thing I'm doing different is taking balance of nature. I've been a 15 handicap golfer for a long time. 3 months after I started taking the fruits and veggies, I started dropping strokes off my handicap. Even my sons noticed I was playing better. I told them, when I started getting enough fruits and veggies in my diet, I felt better. Better concentration, better swing. When you feel better, you play better.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
An ISIS attack in Virginia. We'll talk to Washington Times' Jed Babin about that at 8:38. But now let's check the headlines with Mike Scott.
Dan and John, good morning. Rain and 73 degrees. Apple CEO Tim Cook hosting a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton's campaign later today in California. While it's something his predecessor, Steve Jobs, normally stayed away from, Cook actually held a fundraiser for Republican Speaker of the House Paul Ryan earlier this summer. Hillary Clinton's campaign manager Robbie Mook coming to the defense of the Clinton Foundation.
Well, at every juncture, the foundation set up the highest possible standards to prevent any conflict of interest. And the State Department itself has said that there was no conflict of interest.
However, an ABC News report disagrees with Mook and says Clinton Foundation donors requested and many times were given access to the State Department during Hillary Clinton's tenure there. More than 36 are dead, about 150 missing after a powerful earthquake devastated parts of central Italy. This morning, Chris Burns spoke with reporters. He's an assistant basketball coach with Rhode Island's Bryant University and is in Rome for preseason training.
I mean, it woke us right up out of a sound sleep. It felt like your room was shaking and swaying, and like almost like someone was underneath your bed, like pushing up on the mattress.
Rescuers are combing through rubble for survivors and waiting for heavy equipment to arrive. Police are questioning a possible Chicago suspect in an apartment fire that killed 3 children and a man. 2 advocacy groups are highly critical of Chicago Public Schools' newly proposed budget. That budget is expected to be voted on later today by the Chicago Board of Education. White Sox over Philadelphia 9-1, while the Cubs beat San Diego 5-3. The news, a service of Aruba Tourism, your shortcut to romance. In Aruba, celebrate a special anniversary, rekindle a romance, or have a destination wedding. Hop an nonstop flight from O'Hare to One Happy Island. Plan your shortcut to happiness today at Aruba.com. 8:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Remodel your kitchen with Galaxy. Buy 1 cabinet and get 1 free with free financing and design services. Call 773-783-8300.
Help your potted plants survive this extreme heat. Hi, I'm Josh Rosen, host of Garden Sense. Most potted plants in hang baskets in containers smaller than 12 inches need to be watered twice a day to survive. Plants in 12-inch and larger pots can live on 1 watering per day. Now also feed your potted plants every 3 weeks to maintain growth.
Tune in Sunday mornings at 11 for Garden Sense Radio, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
I've suffered from psoriasis, mainly on the scalp, for 28 years. I went through 8 dermatologists.
If you suffer from psoriasis or vitiligo, you know the pain and embarrassment. Now there's a simple non-medication solution called Extract. Extract treats areas using a unique targeted light therapy.
You have no idea how thick the plaque was on my scalp. Now I'm very close to having clear skin. I'm thrilled with my results.
With clinical studies showing immediate results with up to 95% clearance, Extract simply works. Extract is covered by all major insurances and Medicare and will help you find a doctor close by.
I just want to thank you for the great results of my psoriasis thanks to Extract. My scalp hasn't looked and felt this good for years. I'm forever grateful for Extract.
Call now to live Extract Clear. Call 800-499-4281. That's 800-499-4281. 800-499-4281 or xtracradio.com. Qualified patients, certain restrictions apply.
8:35, Guardian Security Services Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The northbound tri-state has big delays from before Harlem to 75th after a crash. Farther north, it's slow Plainfield Road to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to the Grand Avenue curve. Eastbound Adams Tollway slow Higgins to Roselle. Reagan Tollway 59 to Naperville and Roosevelt to the tri-state. Veterans Memorial stop and go Boughton most of the way to St. Charles and North Avenue to 290. The Edens is running 25 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 46. Kennedy, an hour and 6 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, quicker than the Express, outbound 58 minutes. The Eisenhower, an hour and 15 minutes either way between Thorndale and downtown. Stevenson, an hour and 3 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 52 minutes. The Rhine is 28 minutes. 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, very slow. Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Strong thunderstorms headed for the area. Rain already here, high 82. Showers and storms continue into the overnight, low 70. 71 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next with Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass joining us this morning on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Best beans, best roast, best coffee.
See Alan West and Michelle Malkin at Freedom Summit Chicago 2016. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com.
Good morning, Dan. And in for Amy this morning is Chicago Tribune columnist John Cass. And John, there was this story over the weekend that has not gotten a terrible amount of attention, but the FBI has now launched an investigation into a weekend stabbing in Roanoke, Virginia. A 20-year-old, whose name I'll withhold because who cares, tried to behead his victim at an apartment complex in Roanoke, apparently yelled Allahu Akbar as he hacked at a man and a woman with a knife.
Did he know the woman?
Not clear.
We don't know yet.
Police said the male victim was cut all over his body, including his neck. Then also, this is interesting. The perpetrator was asked about the perpetrator, but to police, whether he may be suffering from mental illness. Allahu Akbar. What is he trying to tell us? I wonder. Gosh, what?
It doesn't mean he's not suffering from mental illness.
No, but I mean this continuing move away from being
workplace violence.
Well, being inspired by radical Islamic terrorist organizations like ISIS to now this is just it's a mental illness issue.
Okay, but on the other hand, here's where we might part company. I'm concerned that I don't want to make I'm not ready as an American to go fight how many hundreds of millions, billion Muslims?
1.5 billion.
All right. I don't think we can kill them all.
I don't think we need to.
And I don't think so. So to make it always a Muslim thing, I can see the problem because I've seen how now the Democrats, after spending 20 years demonizing Muslims or 40 years, now they care about the Muslims. It just seems to me a little bit overdone.
I think it actually.
You see where I'm going here. I'm not trying to say.
I do, but by the same token, I think it also is a bit disingenuous and disrespectful to people that have true mental illness. By the way, this individual's name is not Matt Smith. I'm withholding his name, but it's not Matt Smith,
well,
and I'll just leave it there.
Ali, if it's Ali something, it doesn't really. That doesn't tell us anything.
No, but Allahu Akbar before you start trying to behead someone may be a leading indicator given past attacks of this sort.
I got a feeling that anybody who puts a vest of explosives on themselves and blows it up thinking they're going to heaven and takes out people are mentally ill.
Well, but
it doesn't mean it's wrong.
But what's the underlying ideology? That's relevant. And by the way, this in the context of Jean-Claude Juncker. How's my pronunciation?
Very good.
He's the president of the European Union, and he said, president of the EU, right. The European Commission, we have to fight against nationalism. We have the duty not to follow populists, but to block the avenue of populists. Borders are the worst invention ever made by politicians. We got to get rid of our pesky borders.
Was he sitting? Did George Soros have his tongue in this guy's ear when he was talking?
Tell you
or was
what.
he sitting on the George Soros lap eating a little Turkish delights?
George Soros with his tongue in someone's ear. That's gross.
Listen, this guy tell me that borders don't count. I hear that a lot. As a reporter in newsrooms, I hear the liberal nonsense a lot. And I'll tell you, without a border, without a language, without culture, what are we?
You don't have a country. And by the way, you wonder why Brexit? It's comments like this from Juncker.
But then we have our friends on the, the Republican. Here's one thing I've got to ask you. And maybe this is not the right time, but we hear a lot of people, never Trumpers, on the Republican side. And many of them have influence. Will they ever, however this thing goes, will that divide ever be put together? That chasm between the never Trumpers, conservatives, realists, and so forth.
Well,
I don't know.
Why don't we put that question and several others to our friend Jed Babin. He's the national security columnist at the Washington Times,
hey,
and he joins us now. Jed, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, great to be with you guys.
So what about that ISIS, possible ISIS-inspired knife attack in Virginia?
Well, it's a very big question, and the question really comes back to some of the things John was saying a few minutes ago. This is a Muslim thing, and you're absolutely wrong in saying that it is not. It's a question of these people are totally sane in their own context. It is not insane. It's insane by our standards. It's not insane at all for them to make war on the infidels, to stab people and kill people. This is what they want to do. The radicals amongst the Muslims are doing this.
Right, but
and unless you face that problem head on, you're never going to win this war. And if you don't recognize that it's a war, we're in a lot worse shape than we ought to be.
So we should just, attack, we should do an El Cid on all the Muslims? Come on, man.
That's not what I'm saying. And that's
no, but I mean, that's
reaction.
why. No. You're not talking.
Not at all.
I am not a liberal. I will not. I'm not a card-carrying liberal.
Well, you sound like one because that's what we get from the liberal reporters all the time.
Pardon
the
me,
liberal
sir?
reporters always say, well, you can't go to war with Islam. That's not what I'm talking about.
I don't want to be stampeded. I don't want to be stampeded without all the facts in front of me.
Well, what more facts do you need?
What, that he's a Muslim and now he tried to kill somebody?
They're religiously motivated.
All right,
it is compelled by their religion.
I get it, Jeff.
And, well, apparently you don't.
Oh, no, I get it. I get it 100%, man. I get it. You don't have to explain any more to me.
Well, let me ask another question. Let me ask a larger question. This story earlier this week, U.S. refugee admissions from around the world this year, well, not for this year, but for the latest year on record, which is 2015. For the first time, U.S. refugee admissions, 46% Muslim, 44% Christian. The first time that Muslim refugees have exceeded Christian refugees. Is that important?
Well, obviously it's important, but the real question is, what do these people want to be when they come here? I'm for everyone who wants to come in to be an American. But if you want to come into America and not assimilate, if you don't want to obey our Constitution, if you don't want to live under our system, if you don't want to become part of our culture, then probably we don't want you. And that doesn't matter what religion you are, if you're any sort of terrorist from anywhere. But you have a situation now where we cannot, and I'm going back to what Jay Comey, the FBI director, said last year, we cannot vet people coming from places like Syria. So we have to stop them from coming in until we can establish a means of vetting them and making sure that they are not terrorists. You look at this guy who just stabbed these people in Roanoke, Virginia. He apparently tried to go to Syria. He went to Turkey, may have actually gotten into Syria, and may have connected with ISIS. That's somebody who really should have been under very close surveillance when he came back. And, someone like that really ought to be subject to other criminal sanctions. You should not be able to visit terrorists and get training from them. I think that's the current law. I think under the current law, you can't do that. So, if they could prove that against him, he should have been under lock and key.
How is he not kicked out of is he a citizen of the United States, this man?
I don't know.
Don't know the details.
Maybe he is, but it doesn't matter. If you go to Syria, you get training from ISIS or any other terrorist group, you've broken American law. Period.
Get out. Right.
Let me ask another question. I'm talking to Jed Babin, national security columnist for the Washington Times. Let me ask a more global question. Following on this piece that Brett Stevens wrote in the Wall Street Journal today, The New Dictators Club, he suggests that we have echoes of the 1930s in a budding alliance between Russia, Iran, Turkey, and China. Is that a fair concern in terms of assessing the gathering storm with those four countries?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure I'd include China among them, although China is clearly wanting to do more with Iran and sending its naval forces around the Horn and coming in to the Middle East. But I think that clearly we have a situation where Russia and Iran have allied themselves with Syria, and they are now fighting the people, frankly, that we're supporting in the so-called Syrian civil war. It's not a civil war anymore when you got all these international parties involved. And you have a whole situation where Turkey has now said, well, Erdogan said, I think, 2 weeks ago, that he would go and so far as to help Iran and Syria, help Iran and Russia, rather, protect Syrian sovereignty. What that means is he's throwing in with them to protect the terrorist regime of Bashar Assad. So he's clearly not a NATO ally right now. I'm very interested to see what Vice President Biden gives away in his meeting with Erdogan today.
One thing we know, or at least reported, that Turkey is attacking ISIS positions in Syria, but at the same with the help of U.S. air cover and U.S. satellite and other technology, I assume. What concerns me, though, is that the American press, I'm not seeing the story as reported out of the BBC that Turkey's also shelling Kurdish positions, and given the fact that the Kurds were fighting ISIS, I wonder what you make of all that, and how many times can we betray the Kurds?
Yeah, I think that's 2 points. Number one, it's no surprise that it's not carried in the American press because everybody is so lazy. Everybody's just reading the polls right now and talking about Trump versus Clinton, and quite frankly, I'm bored with that. The point you raised, though, is very important. The issue is between Turkey and the Kurds, and they have always been the object of Turkey's military exercises there. The fact that they might be incidentally trying to strike at ISIS, I think that's also good, but their objective is to rid themselves of the Kurds, and they've been trying that for 25 years, not successfully so far.
Have we thrown in then with the Turkish position vis-a-vis the Kurds to attack and destroy them, given what's going on now? Have we changed our policy since the U.S. is clearly supporting this Turkish shelling and other attacks? We have people on the ground, I would assume, and in the air. So are we changing policy now?
Well, I think we might very well be. I think that's another very good point, but we don't know because the president hasn't said anything about it, and we don't get any information otherwise. So what Obama may be doing is siding with Turkey against the Kurds, clearly possible, siding with Turkey against ISIS, even though ISIS is kind of an incidental target for the Kurds, rather for the Turks. We just don't know at this point because we don't get any information. And, again, everybody's just sitting there on their duffs reading polls and talking about Trump and Clinton instead of really covering some of the big events that's going on in this world.
Well, Jed, don't worry about it. Joe Biden is going to get to the bottom of it, as he always does.
Yeah, right. Why doesn't that give me a big, warm, fuzzy feeling?
He is Jed Babin, national security columnist at the Washington Times. Jed, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Thunderstorms, low of 70 tonight, and tomorrow, high of 82 with mostly cloudy, humid, shower thunderstorms again. And now for the traffic, my friend and fellow gardener and soccer lover, Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, John. Got some fresh oregano for those heirloom tomatoes of yours.
Only use dry. Use dry.
All right. Kennedy inbound. Delays start at Central. It's an hour and 8 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown. Express lane save you about 15 minutes. Outbound, 53 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens is 25 minutes. Lake Hook to Montrose. Outbound, 48. The Eisenhower, an hour and 15 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour 12. Stevenson, an hour and 5 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, an outbound 55 minutes. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State northbound, jammed 115th to 75th. And it's slow Plainfield Road to 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue, southbound still slow, 21 to 60. The other tollways still have some delays, too. Jim Talamonte of the Guardian Security Services Traffic Center.
Is overseas uncertainty making a dent in your portfolio? Is your bank telling you that everything is going to be okay? You don't need to feel like your finances are spiraling out of control. It's time to take a different approach with Online Trading Academy. They'll teach you how to navigate the stock market during these changing times and prepare you for future market fluctuations. Online Trading Academy's certified instructors teach you a rules-based strategy where you'll trade on knowledge, not speculation, so you'll be able to identify market changes before they happen. Reserve your seat today for a free half-day training course at their state-of-the-art education facility in Lombard. Call now, 877-682-2442. Mention AM560 and you'll receive a free home video study course valued at $247. Call now, 877-682-2442.
I am so glad I did it. I'm just mad at myself for waiting so long. Hi, Amy Jacobson here for CertaPro Painters. You know, our front porch had chipping and peeling. It looked old and run down, but thanks to CertaPro Painters, it looks brand new again. And trust me, my neighbors are happy I did it. And you know, it's not too late to book that painting project. But don't wait. Be sure to get on CertaPro Painters' summer painting schedule today. Call 800-GO-CERTA or visit CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. You know, CertaPro Painters will work around your busy schedule to get your home looking picture perfect for all your summer entertaining. That's why CertaPro Painters says we do painting, you do life. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, it's not too late to get that painting project off your to-do list. Call now, 1-800-GO-CERTA, 1-800-GOCERTA, or visit CertaPro.com today.
For me, it was the big S-Class from the 90s. Beautiful. My friend's dad had one.
The SL. All of the SLs. I've been watching those since I was a kid.
I think the 1971 SC was the first Mercedes that just blew me away.
Everyone remembers the first time they saw one, and the day they began to long for a Mercedes-Benz of their own. Well, that day may be a lot closer than you think. With a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz, you can experience the luxury and safety Mercedes-Benz is famous for at a price you can afford. Beautiful SUVs, sedans, coupes, and convertibles that are factory certified and covered by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 3 years, so you can drive without a worry for as far as you like. And during the certified pre-owned sales event, now through August 31st, you can receive 2 years of complimentary prepaid maintenance and 0.99% APR financing on select models, available through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services. You've waited long enough.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for complete details and limitations on certified pre-owned warranties. APR offer available only to qualified customers. Call 1-800-FOR-MERCEDES for details about costs and terms.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and John Caston for Amy this morning, and I wanted to get to the federal government spending $20 million to buy 11 million pounds of cheese, but we got so much reaction to our Jed Babin interview. I want to get Mike in Wicker Park. You're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, yeah, I just want to tell John Koss, as Rush calls him, that he's completely wrong about about what Islam is about. And I just wanted to make sure he can understand it. There's nothing about mental illness when you strap a bomb on yourself. If you fundamentally know what Islam is, and if you're a good fundamentalist Islamic person, you're going to basically know what a caliphate is, and you're going to try to kill anybody else or convert the rest of the world.
Mikey,
so it has nothing to do with mental illness.
Mike,
thanks, Mike.
Unlike Rush Limbaugh, you know I'm not some liberal sports writer, but I'm not ready to go to war with 1.5 billion Muslims.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's saying that.
Right, and I just don't want others to, not you, Mikey, or you, Dan. I don't want others to stampede me into doing that because we're given enough. Too many legs, too many bodies, too much blood, American blood.
Gary and Wilmette.
Hello, I have a question. My question is basically, after World War II, we admitted lots of people from Europe, and even now you hear about people who otherwise led law-abiding lives who be deported because they were associated with the Nazis. My question is, couldn't we do something similar with people, like, for example, if this Yazidi victim, testified that somebody was part of either ISIS or Al-Qaeda, can't you deport them for actions that they took before
far they were admitted to the U.S.
Thanks for the call, Gary. Well, that's the ideological test that Trump talked about.
You know what my dad did after fighting the communists and the fascists, Germans, Italians, and then the communists? So 11, 12 years with a gun in his hand. When he came here, he had to take an oath when he became a citizen that he would fight against his former country. They don't ask that anymore. And when they asked it of him, it wasn't abstract, right?
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. Jeff, Vietnam vet, recently discharged from a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, stopped into his bank before calling me. Bad move. The bank's supposed mortgage expert told Jeff he'd have to wait 1 year after a Chapter 13 discharge to secure a VA loan. Wrong. I informed Jeff he could secure a VA loan 1 day after his Chapter 13 discharge, and then introduced him to one of my preferred realtors, Kate Waddell, who's helping Jeff locate a home. If you're a veteran who would like to work with a lender that respects and values your service to our country, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage and Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358, RMLA, NMLS 19186.
Oh, I love my Solotube. So simple that it's genius. In only 2 hours, it transformed the darkest room of my house. Now, you've heard me talk about Solotube and this amazing technology. Here's how it works. There's a small roof dome which captures sunlight. Then a super reflective tubing transfers that sunlight into brilliant daylight that fills your room. Again, it takes 2 hours to install, and they clean up, and you'll never even know that they were there. And there's a lot of beautiful options to choose from, and it's affordable. The natural lighting truly brightened my home, and it seems so much bigger. So I highly recommend you brighten your home with natural light using Solotube daylighting systems. Call my friend Katie at Chicago Skylight Pros, that's a Solotube premier dealer, for your free consultation. Call Katie at 844-789-SHINE, S-H-I-N-E, SHINE. Mention me and receive $75 off your first Solotube. That's 844-789-SHINE, or visit ChicagoSkylightPros.com to see the video and the amazing before and after pictures. That's ChicagoSkylightPros.com.
Hey, you've heard me talking about my good friends at Guardian Security Services.